where you came from. Remember in that struggle? That's what made you who you are. To all my ladies who taking care of their babies. To all my niggas who being father figures, though they never figured you a father. They just figured that you wouldn't bother. Yeah, status quo. To my niggas who took it to the boardroom from a bag of dope. By any means necessary. Society's outcast, voice of a rotted past. Strapped with knowledge, ignorance get bypassed. Out again, blame them, complete moms went out like that. I ain't mad at it. Who am I to question what they had together? Shit, they both made me. I love them both forever. The hopes ever seeing them both together. That she's supposed to put the coroner on me. It's the same dudes that call friends, turned the corner on me. Now he asking for a piece, just the corner, homie. Too young to understand, she was trying to inform me, I know. Ain't nothing like the real.
Yo, what's good, people? It's your boy Post Up. We got Double O Mellow here.
Gang.
It's been a long day for myself, probably for Mellow as well. Been doing a lot of running around in science boards and stuff for the kids and stuff for school projects. And so I finally got an opportunity to hop on here and kind of speak about the Phil Spencer interview that went out today. I put out a tweet, a little bit of my perspective and insight, and I think people took it wrong. So I'm gonna break that tweet down, but I'm also gonna go in. I'm also gonna go in on what on my perspective of what he said and what I interpreted, right? My opinion, right? Mm-hmm. Because I was in Paris Spaces after watching the interview, and Paris said he wanted to kind of ask some additional questions to what Phil has said so he could kind of elaborate to get, the meaning behind what he was saying. And so he couldn't do that because they were short on time. So we in the gaming world, we in the community are left to speculate or give our own opinion or our own perspective of what we thought he meant. And so me and Mello is going to do that today. This is the first time that I really seen Phil frustrated and stressed and things like that. And so I'm going to talk about that as well. And we're gonna dive into it, and y'all gonna get my perspective, whether y'all agree with what I say or y'all disagree with what I say. That's on y'all. I will leave that up to y'all. We don't always have to agree to everything. Just join the conversation in the chat, and we're going to kind of break this down a bit. And I knew after I watched the whole interview, I knew that certain clips was going to be pulled from that interview and run rampant on social media. I knew people was going to kind of push their perspective on what he's saying, like they do all the time. Every time Phil do an interview or do an article, even throughout the journalists and the media, they always take or reshape what he said as clickbait titles and things like this. But I'm not really saying that here, but it tends to happen. So I'm not defending anything. Number one, because I know people.
Will stop this goddamn.
Yeah, hold on, because I gotta set this straight.
Stop all the narratives.
I gotta set this straight. No, I'm not. No, I just want to set my premise on how I'm going to attack this. Because I know
you said what you said because that's how you feel. It ain't gotta be you a Xbox brigade trying to protect Phil.
Ain't nobody protect.
I don't care what
I'm finna say. No, but I'm gonna explain. I'm gonna explain and break down. I'm gonna explain and break down what I said too. So as you guys come in, please hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. And we finna get started, man, because it's about to be 9:00. So we'll go. Who we got in the chat? We got Deuces X. We got Packer Pal. We got Blase. We got Mustang Gamer, and we got Chicken Nat 210.
Like that, shorty.
People that haven't responded in the chat, shout out to y'all, man. Hope y'all enjoy this conversation that we're about to have. King Reaper 74G, what's up? We got my brother J Dub with the $2 post prepping to defend field. If you don't get your
he wanted
him. He wanted him. See, he wanted him because he didn't already set his narrative on Twitter. He ran to Twitter and set his narrative. He said what he said. You can't tell me what he said. And then I said, Kratos, I have a different perspective. Oh, you crazy.
You
crazy. You wild. You is delusional, brother.
Yellow got a bad foot. Your foot funky. Nick. I still got the pick, brother, with you and your Gran Turismo toes.
Mello got a bad foot fungus.
You better stop it, bro. That boy
I just say show up and just enjoy the conversation. That's all. Whether you consider it cap it or not, that's what you take from what I'm about to say, what you take from it. Whether you consider it cap or not, you determine that for yourself. I'm just going to speak my opinion and my truth. That's all I can do. You feel me? That's all I can do. Get the hoof out of here. Pack a pal. He good. Kratos is good people, man. He good people. He a diehard pony.
Yeah, real pony to the high.
Real pony to the high. But he actually an Xbox turn pony. So he's not really enough. Well, could we call him official pony if he was a bot first?
Nah. That nigga a cross dresser. He like both platforms. I ain't trying to hear nothing about
he do be on the Xbox a lot, though.
He play on both of them.
Teddy Digital, what's up? Now, guys, let's be real on the show today. Phil said some things that indeed need to be addressed. Teddy, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to address it from my own perspective and from my own conclusion. How y'all take it or how y'all process it is up to y'all. I can't control how the community or everybody that's listening is going to process everything. So let me start off. Let's get going because it is late. I don't want to be here too long. First of all, Phil did an interview with XCast, the Xbox portion affiliates of XCast, all the guys that that support the ecosystem. And he came out and he did an interview, and I think from my perspective he had to, because the things that were being said online about Redfall, about the developers, about Xbox in general was crazy. And some of these thoughts, these comments, not only was coming from the community, but they was coming from journalists and media that some of these developers in Xbox will look at as homies. You feel me? And so I think before it became a wildfire, I think Phil had to step in and kind of, I guess, cool things over or smooth things over, but he probably, based on social media, did more harm than good. I don't think so. It all depends on how you interpret it. It all depends on how you interpret it, okay? And you could tell he was frustrated. So before I start, what's up, Web Dave? What's up, Xavier Bay? Before I start, Mello, what was your perspective on? Did you watch the interview, or did you just see clips of it? And if you watched the whole interview, what was your perspective of the interview and his answers, and what did you take from it?
Okay, so I watched the whole interview after I seen that you post what you said, and then I was looking at the clip, and I'm like, well, honestly, from what I'm seeing, he's more annoyed and aggravated than just upset and mad. This is one of them type of moments where the interview was kind of like perfect timing in a sense, because one, the game had just dropped. We talking about the game just dropped 2 days ago, and for you to, of course, the game, you can take whatever perspective you want. A lot of it been negative. It's your opinion and how it is.
Yeah, I don't knock anybody I don't knock nobody for how they
for
feel,
what they said,
or for what they took from
that's
it.
your opinion.
Yeah,
I
that's
always said that from day one. If you play the game and you feel the way about the game after you played it, have a blast. I have nothing to say to you whatsoever outside of let's talk about the story.
Yeah.
But with all the negative press going on, everybody showing the bugs and the glitches and everything else, and then you turn around and I don't know if they had this already pre-scheduled beforehand or
I think
whatever the case may be.
pre-scheduled based on what Paris said in the space, because Paris said he wanted to talk to Phil about some other stuff. He wanted to have some conversation about other stuff.
Yeah,
so
I don't
this
think
one
this
just out of the
random.
Blue. This was you just Phil ain't just for to pop up.
Yeah, you got to schedule this type of stuff. That ain't something that you just do off the cuff.
Yeah, Paris said he wished he was able to talk about what he really wanted to talk about instead of what what
was going on in media. But due to the fact, of course, what's going on with media gonna take the headline. This is a perfect storm for us to get all the great headlines, because we just got the individual here and a game just tanked. So yeah, we're gonna hit you with the hard questions. Every question that they asked was justified. It was on point.
Yeah,
it was actually a good interview.
It was. And they asked the questions that we wanted to hear.
Everything
they asked the questions that we wanted to hear.
When he came up and said about Fable and Perfect Dark Zero, I was actually surprised. Like, oh, he really getting in his bag now. So, but when they came with the Starfield information and everything, honestly, from what I got from it, I took the brunt of it. It's the same thing that I said about Bleeding Edge. The game was already in development. It was already in its process, and what it was going to be, whatever the case may be.
It was what it was going to be.
It was what it was. And they was on their verge of saying what console it was going to be on and all that mess. They came in and said, hey, we got bought out. We going over to Xbox. It's only exclusive to Xbox. From that point, whatever that agreement is, like again on that contract, they can say, hey, our passion project that we had in the works, we want to still bring it out. Phil said, okay. So that's why he took the brunt of it. Now, when it comes to this quality control mess, I'm with y'all. I'm 100% with you. I went through the whole State of Decay 2 situation. I'm a heavy fan of State of Decay 2. And when it first released, if you was there, you understand how terrible that game was. You had bugs, you had cars warping into the world, zombies just randomly popping out on you. If you play that game right now, after they outsourced and got some real developers in there to help them with the environment and stuff like that, that game is literally night and day. You could not tell the goddamn difference. And it's
with Sea of Thieves too. We'll have Sea of Thieves released too.
It's Sea of Thieves as well. So it's like the game just came out, and I understand people are frustrated. I understand people want 60 frames per second. It's cool. I get it. But I can tell you one thing. This gonna be better than Forspoken. It's gonna end up better than Days Gone. You're gonna get more content. You didn't pay your money for a game and then turn around, they close the goddamn whole studio down within a month or two.
Okay. So
you go ahead, bro. You handle your business.
No, okay. I got a lot to say.
I got smoke.
Okay, wait, hold on. Cause you was let me before you start cooking, cause you seem like you got smoke. Shout out to 108 Dragons TV with the $5. Having fun with Redfall. Stay mad, haters. Shout out to the panel in this awesome gaming community, and to Phil for standing up responsibly for the game. I will say this before I get started.
What's up, 108?
I know this.
He was dancing his ass.
Yeah, and that look. Hey, 108 Dragon.
I love that.
Shout out to
spirit,
you, brother.
Bro.
Let me tell you something. Before I get started, shout out to you, 108, for having fun.
Man,
right? I think certain people lose sight that gaming is supposed to be fun. So when I saw the video with the fro and the funky music in the background, I say this boy tweaking and it made me laugh. But you know what I'm saying? I rock with it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's fun. Gaming is supposed to be fun. I know a lot of people was getting mad talking about he looked goofy and all this shit and this and that. Nigga, don't listen to none of that.
The same clown nigga with a Mario hat on. Like, man, shut up. Don't play Nintendo.
I want to stop what he's talking about.
Have fun, bro.
108.
I'm talking about him, nigga.
108. Keep doing you, brother. Keep having fun.
My video. Bumming.
Keep having fun. Keep doing you, brother. As they say, once a man, twice a baby. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? So keep doing you, brother. Respect. So let me get. First, I want to say in terms of Phil, I applaud Phil. I know this interview was pre-scheduled out, and they were supposed to talk about something else, but I think he knew that questions was going to change given the climate that Xbox is in right now in terms of the optics, right? But shout out to him for not rescheduling the interview. Shout out to him for not canceling the interview. And shout out to him for coming on and asking the hard questions. And the reason why I say that is because in sports,
hit the like button.
The reason why I say that is because in sports, right, when a team loses, whether it's basketball or the NFL, when a team loses and the loss is on the players, a great leader, a great coach will come out and take that L for their players. And that's what Phil did today.
For the right
regardless
people,
if you agree with what I agree, you might get mad at that player like, man, why he shoot that shot? That's why they lost the game. And the coach will come to the press conference and say, it's on me. It was on me. I drew up the game plan. I didn't draw up the right play. I didn't get these guys prepared or anything like that. That's what I saw Phil do today in terms of Arcane, who was being just demoralized in the community, amongst gamers, and amongst media. So Phil came out and did what an NBA or NFL coach would do and say, look, that's on me. Even though it wasn't. Even though it wasn't, right? Even though it wasn't. But he took that brunt. He took
and
that
even
hit.
crack jokes about it.
Yeah, he took that hit for them, right? And they will be better for it. All of this was going on with Redfall. Arcane is going to be better for it, but he came out and took the brunt. Now,
but hold on, Post, go just to piggyback on what you said, because it was so perfect what he did. Also, a lot of people didn't really peep it. He even gave them job security while he was speaking. He said, yo, we dropped the ball here and there, but ain't nothing's going to change. We're going to learn from this, and we're going to come out better.
Yeah.
The studio as well. So I'm like, come on, bro.
Yeah.
He ain't say, oh, you made a trash ass game. We got to go ahead and submerge you into another company and
you throwing shots. You throwing shots.
Close the doors and the lights in this motherfucker.
Shout out to 108 Dragons TV with the $5. You get one life, so enjoy it. My bank account not goofy. Laugh out loud. We supposed to have fun.
Absolutely.
Always. We all big kids. Facts. I love this game and life. God is good. Facts. That's what I'm talking about, brother. Hey, bro, you need to do them Game Pass Soul Brother videos a lot, especially when the new bangers come out. Keep dropping them joints. You know what I'm saying? Man, me of the soul
moving
train,
and grooving.
Brother. You feel me? Keep doing you, brother. Keep doing you. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna bring up a tweet of my initial reaction because I hadn't watched the full interview, right? And this was my initial tweet here. Let me share the screen.
I about to say, Thriller, even while you doing that, you got a point there. But again, that don't fall on Microsoft. That falls on the developers of that game.
Okay.
Of Cyberpunk.
So let me do. I said,
you see them interviewing.
I said, watching that interview, Phil is under pressure. What that means for his position on Xbox, I don't know, but he is stressed, pressured, frustrated. You can clearly see he is mad. Will there be a shakeup? And I just put that question out there just to kind of start a conversation.
Yeah, you were doing too much. You was doing too much.
Nah, I knew what I was doing. At a time where he should be focused on ABK deal, he has to turn from that and talk about Redfall, quality control, development process, and the morale of the Xbox community. He shouldn't be in this position if the people under him were doing their job, and that's what I got from this interview. So I want to expound on this because people thought I was defending Phil, and I wasn't. I used to work for Apple, right? I worked for Apple for 6 years, right? I was a senior advisor at Apple for all iOS product and Beats products, and I was a technical advisor for all Mac products, right? So let me show you how the chain goes when you work for big corporations and why I think people blame Phil for everything because he's the face of Xbox, right? And so let me. I had a supervisor at Apple, right? I had a supervisor that supervised our team. But since I was a senior advisor, when a customer had an issue, right? And that the first layer of advisors couldn't resolve, or they wanted to speak to a manager, they were sent to me. So in this case, my boss would have been the Phil Spencer, okay? Or well, I'm finna let's let me continue, right? So if a customer had an issue and they no longer wanted to speak to an advisor, they were sent to me. Anything dealing with managerial or supervisor authority, I had that. My supervisor was non-customer facing. He didn't talk to customers, right? So whenever a customer came to me with an issue, I had the authority of a manager, of a supervisor, to make any decision regarding that customer issue. I didn't have to reach out to my manager or my supervisor because my manager and my supervisor believed that any decision that I made for the customer was the right decision. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So when I look at that, I compare that to Phil Spencer, who now sits on the board. Right? And from his position, when he puts people in place, such as a Matt Booty, to oversee the Xbox game studio, he's given Matt Booty the authority and the power to make the right decisions for the studio he's managing above below him, right? And you're given that power with the duty that Matt Booty shouldn't have to run to Phil Spencer all the time in regards to what he should do and don't do for them studios, because that's why Phil put him in that role. Because he believed in him. I believe that you can supervise and manage these studios on your own. Outside of that, when it comes to budget meetings and annual reviews and all that stuff, we will have that conversation. But Matt Booty shouldn't have to run to Phil Spencer every time something is going on with the studio, or the studio shouldn't have to run to Phil Spencer. The studio should run to Matt Booty when they have an issue, right? At least that's how I was taught, or in the corporate world that I worked in, how structures work.
All right, hold on. Let me help them out, because you got a couple slow niggas in here. So when you mess up the French fries at McDonald's, they don't have the CEO come over there to resolve the issue. They have the manager, the store manager, the individual that's there to observe and report any issues of French fries not being right.
Right.
They deal with it.
And even the store manager don't run to the CEO when he have problems, because he got to go speak to the area manager.
Thank you. That's for you slow ponies. The slow ponies in the chat. Go ahead.
I'm just trying to break down the chains of command here, and where we always tend to point the finger, right? And what we always tend to, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing to point the finger at Phil, right? He is the face of Xbox. Whenever you talk about, he's synonymous with Xbox. Despite Phil being on the board, right, and head of a gaming period, you don't hear people talking about Matt Booty, even though he runs Xbox Game Studios. And so whenever something goes wrong with a release or with a game, Matt Booty, we don't put no pressure on him, even though he's the guy that we should be talking about.
I don't even know what this dude look like.
But
I know what Phil look like. I don't know what this guy look like.
But there's the run independent of Xbox. They still run themselves, even though Microsoft owned them. Right. So if anybody want to point the blame, why ain't nobody bring up Todd Howard? Why nobody didn't bring up any executives at Bethesda? Because most people, include myself, that's on social media, don't know the chain of command in terms of Bethesda. And the only person we know, and the only face we know is Phil Spencer.
We gotta say the only one we know that's actually coming out here giving us news and information is Phil Spencer.
But I'm saying though,
yeah,
it's a Bethesda game. It was published. It's a Bethesda game. It was created by Bethesda Studio. It was published by Bethesda. It wasn't even published by Microsoft or Xbox. The game was published by Bethesda. But instead of going to the chain of command at Bethesda, Tom Howell, or whatever the executive chain of command is, we go straight up to the top to the board member and say
he's accessible. See, it's a different dynamic when it comes to this because I don't know if he's playing video games or not, but
social media makes him accessible.
Exactly. You ain't never had this type of connection to an individual where he'll be able to see any type of conversation that y'all even talking about, let alone to even build a emotional connection to what you're saying. But y'all tagging this man
but
left
I'm
and
saying,
right.
but we're talking about they're calling to fire Phil Spencer, right? And I know that, I know why, and I understand why. And believe me, I'm not naive. I know why. Because when y'all do that, y'all talking about Xbox ecosystem as a whole, right? And some of y'all, mostly on the other side of the street, don't like what Phil has done over the last 10 so or more years. And some of y'all feel it's getting worse instead of getting better. And a lot of people like what he has done over the last 10 years and feel it's getting better than it's more so than it's getting worse. And now I would say this though. I think this situation is a 2 steps forward and a 1 step back situation. You had that developer direct, right? Mm-hmm. You came out of that developer direct with momentum with the community. Everybody was Hi-Fi Rush was big for you. High on Life, despite the reviews that it got, it still was a hit. 7.5 million players. Hi-Fi Rush, great reviews, high scores, and things like that. The direct and how y'all went about doing that Xbox Direct, the community was high. The community was high. They was happy. They said, okay, if we get some more of this, like this, where we don't get all the BS that y'all was doing in the past, we can rock with this. Mm-hmm. But you don't capitalize on that because Redfall comes and just trample all over that.
None of that. I don't agree with that.
I'm not saying, Mello, I'm saying in the eyes of the echo chamber that is Twitter, right?
Well, so, fuck the echo chamber.
Okay, Twitter, I understand.
Echo chamber, but hold on, because Phil said something in there again in this whole conversation. He said it at the end also. Yes, the echo chamber is loud on Twitter. But our sales and our trajectory of user base that's on these games when it comes to analytics says otherwise.
Well, I understand.
So when he says the fans of the product continue to enjoy it, but also let us know when we dropping the ball. I'm with both sides of that.
Look, that's why I don't want Phil fired. I don't want Phil fired. I don't want Phil fired. And I understand that. And he made that known in the interview. We just had one of our biggest quarters. We just had our biggest quarter.
I get paid too much money.
But let's go outside this echo chamber. I left the crib today because one of my homies that I do music with called me. Was like, man, I need a ride to work. Right.
Oh, okay.
So I took him to work. Right. And I hop in the car, 5-10 minutes. We're not even 5 minutes in the drive. He say, have you seen that Phil Spencer interview? Now, I will call him a casual. He's not on Twitter. He not all this gaming and stuff like that. He's not doing none of that. And the first thing, and I wasn't even expecting him to even see it, but that's how much reach this whole thing then got. He's not I wouldn't consider him a hardcore, right? And he say, "Did you see that Phil Spencer interview?" And I say, "Yeah, man, buddy." He like, "Man, it ain't looking too good out there," right? So we started having a conversation, and I listened to his opinion on what he thought. And to him, he felt as though he told me, he said, "See, man, Xbox need to get back to being game oriented, focused on the games." He said, "That's what I want." Because he said, outside of GTA, he said, outside, when I turn my box on, I'm playing GTA. Outside of that, I'm playing other games on PlayStation and Nintendo. That's where I'm getting my gaming from right now. And to him, he said, right now, ain't nothing on Game Pass. It ain't no game. He was like, it ain't no games on there. You know what I'm saying? And so he find himself booting up the Xbox for GTA. But outside of that, he's on PlayStation and Nintendo. And I didn't try to change it. I said, okay, I felt good getting his perspective because I know he's not on social media, on podcasts. He's not deep into technology where with the specs on how deep we go. But it was a perspective from a casual gamer that's paying attention somewhat. And he said, when I look at PlayStation, their main focus is games. That's what he's telling me. He said, when I look at PlayStation, their main focus is games. He's like, Xbox needs to get back to that. They need to get back to being focused on games and being more game oriented. And I just sat there listening to him because some of what he was saying it's kind of the feedback you was hearing on Twitter.
You sound like a sheep. All due respect. You sound like you just hearing.
No, that's just his.
That's on the
that's
street,
just his perspective, bro.
The same
nah.
But he's entitled to his opinion.
That was his opinion.
With all due respect, he's entitled to his opinion. But it sounds like he just echo chambers in the same BS because the nigga up the street.
No. But see, he not out there in them gaming streets like that.
He heard that. He heard that from a Twitter comment.
Bro, when he found out stuff about certain events and stuff, he found out from me majority of the time.
Okay.
He found out from me majority of the time. So he's not in those gaming streets. So he's a casual gamer, but that was his perspective.
But that's the thing, though. That's the thing, though, Post, because I'm sorry. I'm sorry. For an individual to say that let's say he's not a hardcore podcaster like
he's just a casual gamer.
He's a casual gamer.
He owns every system, bro.
Which is the sheep, which you have the 1% that goes out here on these Twitter spaces and these social media sites like J-Dub. Hello. He's not reading no J-Dub tweets. No, he don't even know who J-Dub is. Hold on. Let me tell you how I'm talking. Hey, let me tell you. See, they learned the algorithm, sir. The more you pump, the more you pump bullshit into social media, it goes to the top of the goddamn top of the water.
The algorithm in the AI made this brother a shit.
Bro, I'm telling you, bro, this is psychological warfare. I'm trying to tell you, J-Dub don't know the type of psychological warfare he doing here. So when we cracking jokes and laughing at this nigga,
Kratos.
When we cracking jokes, Kratos, I'm blaming him because it's too many of them. It's niggas like Kratos. When you have them waking up 3-4 o'clock in the morning, putting up Xbox bad news. Why do you think every time we get on Twitter, you can see Microsoft trending more than Sony? Because they are pulling out the echo chamber of the same negative shit going into social media, and the 99%, which we call the casual, sees this and they say, damn, this must be true because there's so many people saying it.
Bro, you blaming Kratos for casual.
I'm putting everything on Kratos.
Oh, man, this brother. Somebody come get mellow, man. Somebody. Let me
Kratos destroyed Kool-Aid.
You not blaming J-Dub,
for smoking.
man.
That nigga destroyed Takis. Now they saying they mess up your stomach. I'm blaming everything on Kratos.
Look, hold on.
But yeah,
and that's
but
my
for real though, the
right
more and
now.
more you see the negative stuff on top, you get to see that more than the actual people, that's enjoying the content. Because just think, anytime you said anything positive about that game, people went crazy. Oh, you not having fun, you lying, you capping. And it's like, damn, all I said was, oh man, I just shot a damn vampire, and you start bugging out. It's too many of them little restless warriors out there. They got too much energy on their hand. Hold on, all right, so I'm blaming everything on J-Dub since he ain't here. He stepped out for a minute. And like I said, his homie guy is definitely entitled to his opinion, but that's how you sway the narrative. What you say with fake news, the more you see fake news, the more people run with that fake news and think it's true. So the interview was good. What Phil said was spot on. It was what needed to be said. One part I did not agree with, but I know everybody like kind of echoing this when it came to the developers direct. I love that 12 a game dropped every 12 month situation and scenario. It gave us something to play coming through this whole COVID situation. Yes, granted, certain games got shifted around and what they thought was going to be able to be released, it got delayed. That's cool. But if you looking at that 12 out of the games that got, I guess, delayed that we have not seen, it's very few. It's like maybe 4, I want to say, maybe 3. Because I know Stalker 2 was in there. Valhalla got delayed. Redfall, and some other game got delayed. So I'll take them odds, but even with them being delayed, they gave us a replaced game.
That's funny because
there. So
that was my homie.
Really good.
That was my homie.
I rock with your homie.
He was calling for work.
Don't take my narrative wrong.
He said,
I rock with him. If he cool with you, I know he cool. I'm rocking with him.
He hit me like,
he sound like one of them sheeps.
Nah, he hit me. He just said, yo. I say, what's good, bro? He said, yo, man, why they doing Xbox out there like that? They going in on them. So this shit is beyond Twitter, Facebook. This shit probably everywhere. So let me get these super chats real quick. Shout out to Top Shotter with the $5 shot. It was good. It was a good thing that Redfall flopped because it put Matt Booty and Pete Hines on the hot seat for quality control, which let them know our expectations. And then we got Buck with the $10. Shout out to you, Buck. Post, I'm a Phil supporter, but in 2022, Phil spent 233 hours playing Vampire Survivors before Destiny. Post, if you ran 23 Xbox Studios, you spend all your time playing Xbox game, giving feedback and focus. Well, Buck, I will say this. That's not Phil's job.
Yeah. What was that?
That's not Phil's job. Right. Phil oversees the gaming division. Phil oversees the gaming division. Who runs those 23 studios that's under the studios that's under Xbox? That's Matt Booty job.
Yeah,
y'all are blaming Phil for Matt Booty not doing his job. So when you don't get a perfect dog, when you don't know about what's going on with a Val, when you don't know about what Everwild is and all that, that's Matt Booty. And guess what? You never see. When the last time you seen Matt Booty in the interview?
I told you I don't know how this man look, let alone seen the interview of him. So
he ain't even on social media like that. But since Phil is more interactive with the consumers, that's the first person we're going to blame. Matt Booty is the head over all of Xbox Game Studios outside of Bethesda. So when something is going on with them studios from the Initiative and the State of Decay studios, why we haven't heard from what's the other studio that did They did that little funny looking game.
Ooh.
I forgot the name of the studio they purchased along with Ninja Theory. When you don't hear from them studios, or when you hear things going on, Halo and all of that, Matt Booty oversees all of that. And I know people are gonna say, well, Phil Spencer is his boss. Yeah, Phil Spencer his boss, but Phil Spencer put him in that position because he felt that Matt Booty was able to do his job without him standing over his head all the time.
Again, just like we just said,
ain't that what y'all complained about?
For the slow ponies in the room, when McDonald's mess up the fries, do y'all get the chance to complain to the CEO of McDonald's? No, nigga.
Ain't that what y'all complained about? Y'all said Microsoft was too corporate, and that they wouldn't give the studios their freedom and their chance to do anything. And y'all said that Microsoft need to give these studios their freedom.
All that mess.
Y'all said corporate was always in the way. So Phil Spencer gets a new position. He put Matt Booty in the position that he was. He get Bethesda, and he give these studios the freedom to do what they want. And now y'all saying, well, Phil sitting at the table. He's supposed to come. No. If Phil got to come down every time a studio ain't doing what they supposed to do,
I might as well
get
2
checks.
Why the
fuck Matt Booty got a job?
Right. I might as well be having 2-3 checks then.
Why does Matt Booty have a job? If Phil has to come down, Phil right there in the Dahlia ear to make sure that he keeps the money flowing through for his division, right? Mm-hmm. He's there to feed the pipeline in the future layout of where the gaming division is going with Microsoft and how they're going to see success in the next 15 and 20 years, and to make sure Nadalia is with that program and willing to fund it to get there. He can't stop protecting his division or making sure his division is correct in terms of, you know what I'm saying, finances. He can't stop doing that every time something go wrong. Then if that's the case, the people that's in the positions don't need to be in it. Matt Booty don't need a job then. Fuck it, have Phil do everything.
Yeah.
Have Phil do everything.
It seemed like he already doing it, but yeah, I agree with you.
And the only thing, I'm glad Phil came out and said something, but I believe somebody else should have stepped up. I believe, hold on.
Because that's my thing about the whole situation when it came to the interview. So back to this interview spiel. Outside of the whole 12-month game situation, I didn't agree with that because I think that is the greatest idea Microsoft has done, especially with Game Pass. We getting third-party, new IPs, AAA, AA, indie games every month. Usually we get a exclusive game, maybe three games out of the month, and the rest of it is filler with third parties and 2K and Madden and all that stuff. So I think the decision was dope for that.
Look, let me tell you something.
For their pockets.
Why Peter Hines and Howard didn't come out and had, well, I knew that. Well, I will say this. Why hasn't they come out? Because I knew that Phil interview was already predetermined. They had already scheduled it. It's just that since all this shit is taking place, Phil had to answer those questions. But even before this interview, where's Peter Hines? Where's Todd Howard?
They got out the way, man. They let him take the bullets and kept it moving, kept it pushing like
Shout out to 108 Dragon with the $2. Ponies equal pillow biters.
Absolutely.
That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying don't point blame at Microsoft. I'm saying point blame in the proper place. That's all. I'm not telling y'all not to be mad. Be mad. be upset. If that's what you want to be, if you're happy about Redfall and you like Redfall in its current state, shout out to you. To each their own. I'm not trying to persuade or do anything like that in terms of what people believe. I'm just saying, if you're going to point fingers in the proper place.
Now, let's sidebar about Redfall too, brother.
Mhm.
While you at it, if you change the field of vision down to like 50 instead of that 90, and you put you fix the control settings a little bit,
we're not doing that.
It's a little bit sustainable. You know what I'm saying?
We're not doing that. Shout out to Top Shotter with the $2. Matt Booty came from a failed midway publisher, right? And I'm not saying, look, when I speak on Matt Booty, I'm speaking in terms of Xbox Game Studios. So he would be the person that we would need to talk to in terms of Avowed, State of Decay 3, Perfect Dark, Halo, Hellblade 2, all the first party studios that comes under Xbox Game Studios. He's managing those studios. He don't come out and say shit. He don't come out and say nothing. But in terms of this Bethesda created game and the Bethesda published game, we ain't heard enough from Todd Howard, Peter Hines, or any spokesperson from Bethesda, from my understanding, unless y'all can point me to where they made a statement about Redfall or anything like that. But I do think that some of the stuff that's being said about Xbox right now is way over the line. I want to get deeper into this interview because it's a few clips that people was putting up on Twitter saying that Microsoft said they can't compete with Sony. They gave up and all that. And I want to get my perspective on what I think what was being said in that particular. And it's crazy that the same people that said that's saying this now, Phil Spencer just gave up in his interview, was the same people that said Microsoft gave up years ago when they first announced Game Pass. Y'all been saying Microsoft been defeated for years. Y'all been saying they've been fit to come third party for years. So we're gonna get to it because I got some perspective here. Shout out to Iron Mike with the $5. Matt Booty has nothing to do with Bethesda Games. That's Pete Hines. Bethesda is autonomous. I know that, Mike. I know that Iron Mike.
You didn't say Pete Hines.
I know that Iron Mike. But Iron Mike, what they gonna tell you is that fuck that Phil Spencer is over everything. So it's Phil. Retarded, not find out who at Bethesda was overseeing that project, to
release it in that state.
Who at Bethesda approved that game to be released? You know what I'm saying? Because when and that goes back to what I was saying in terms of structure, corporate structure, or business structure. Peter Hines or Todd Howard or the studios, they don't. If I'm Arcane, I don't have to call Phil or go all the way over to Phil and ask, can I release a game? Phil gonna look at you crazy like, what? You know who your supervisor is. You know your man. You know this person. You know who control all that, right? Why you here talking to me? Nobody is asking why Bethesda approved, even though we know Bethesda have a history of putting out games in this state. Fallout 76, for an example, right? Nobody is asking that question on why Bethesda approved this game to be released, on why Bethesda didn't cancel the game.
I don't know this. I was about to say, this makes Fallout 76 release look like an angel, brother. Right. This game,
but I'm just saying though. Nobody is asking that question, right? Everybody is saying fire Phil. Even though Bethesda created and published the game, Bethesda green lighted that game to be put out in that state. And we overlook that and go straight to it's Phil's fault, fire Phil. And I know what they're gonna say. Well, this is Phil. This is Phil legacy. It's his plan. It's his.
A hoop, a hoop. You gotta say a hoop with it.
Shout out to my brother
Goof
King Spud
ass.
came in with the 499. Redfall is trash. Phil Spencer is done. Xbox is dead. Mellow old thumbhead.
That's Queen Thumbs.
Lord took a
Get your
sip
ass.
off Cam Snap. Post you a jab turkey.
You know he old.
But look, I want to say this. Shout out to
50.
Rob, who randomly robs everybody. These ponies got my secondary Twitter page banned. These ponies was relentless after that interview. Phil need to shut up giving these ponies ammo. It ain't even giving them ammo because whatever Phil said
just did 8 hours into Redfall. He did a whole work shift.
Whatever Phil says, they're gonna interpret it anyway. You could go back to articles where he said things, and that community has come out and twisted what he said to suit their own agenda, to take from it what they took from. Look, what you get from what Phil said is what you get from it. I see a lot of people in the Xbox community,
a lot of y'all slow
about Fire Phil and stuff like that. A lot of that is, look, I think it's two reasons why Phil is mad. The first reason is that this interview was going to be something totally different. And he could have spent time really diving into, it's May, the June 11th showcase is coming up. He could have spent a good amount of time kind of diving into that and giving positive outlook on what the Xbox community is going to be presented with. And yet all the conversations that he originally was going to have was sidetracked for this. You know what I'm saying? Right. Number two, he said and I don't think people understand. I think Mello pointed this out earlier when he said, I see what's on social media. So I think he was also mad at all the media outlets and how disrespectful they was, not only to Microsoft, to Xbox, to Redfall, but to the studio, to overall. I've seen media outlets say some things that they'll never say about Sony.
Man.
And I know what you're gonna say. Well, Sony don't Sony have put themselves in a position to be scrutinized. They just don't be scrutinized to the point that Microsoft is.
But you can't say that because now you're trying to protect Xbox and you gotta focus on what Xbox is doing wrong and not what Sony does.
And before I bring up this video, let me pull up where is it? Where the fuck my bookmarks are? Oh, let me do this here. And before I bring up that, I want to bring up this tweet from somebody that worked at Arcane. Right? So I'm going to switch to this tab, right? This is Sadie Boyd. Okay, let me see here. Now, Sadie is a senior 2D artist at Arcane Studios on Redfall. So she worked on Redfall, right? And this is her perspective. She say, I did not anticipate my own peers, friends, or colleagues openly mocking and being gleeful of a difficult launch. Delighting in the failure of others, no matter how you feel towards a company, seems mean-spirited. I feel sad, confused, and disappointed. Notice she said peers, friends, or colleagues. You know what I'm saying? The same people that we invite out to the events came out and said all this stuff at the preview, all this good shit. But the minute it came out,
oh, hell broke loose.
The real. So why? And that make me question the media. Why go to that Redfall event? It's right there in the back.
So a lot of them don't understand that, the gaming developers is in a union in a sense too with a lot of these. So everybody typically know each other in a sense, either working on past projects or just going to school with each other, graduate. It is a very niche, small community. So to hear that your peers is bashing your passion project or something that you created, come on, man. What would you think?
Not only that, but if you and I feel I can't trust some of these journalists now. Off of what happened. Now let me tell you something.
To these niggas.
Now look, Redfall. Don't get me wrong. I'm not defending Redfall. It's a bad game. I played yesterday with Mello and Noah, and it almost made me throw up. I had to cut the
get
game
up out
off.
of here.
Get up out
of here quick.
It made me sick. My stomach, I started feeling queasy. My stomach started feeling all types of ways.
I think it was the blur vision. I had to cut mine off.
I turned the motion blur off.
I
do that on every game now because I think, my body's just different as you get older. When I was young, I didn't experience shit like this when I played games, but now I do. But Redfall made me queasy, and even while I was before that, I just didn't like the game. And if you go back and look at Mello's stream, you will hit me in the stream criticizing the game. Like, what the fuck is this? Why would they put something out like this in 2023? So I'm not defending Redfall. It is a bad game. It is a terrible game. It is a game that shouldn't have been released. But all I'm saying is that when those journalists and media people were sent to that preview and they got a chance to play that game at 60 frames per second and all that, they came back and had nothing but praise about it. Then soon the reviews come out, they do a whole 180 and just, why y'all didn't say this?
He said they played it at 60. At the event,
they played it at 60, and Phil said that about that. Said that in the interview that they played it at 60, and then when it released on console, it was at 30. But
see, I'm confused because I get what you saying. Where the game is just performance wise, it's just terrible. Like the story and idea, is actually good.
Well, we're not, what, Mello?
I'm not capping for it. I'm not capping for it.
You're capping for it. You're not for the know us right now.
I'm not capping, bro.
You do your own review.
The idea for the game is not bad. Now the execution is a whole different conversation.
Well,
it's just like
the concept is.
It's just like what's that game we always talk about? The fake Iron Man game.
Let me get there. Big IK with the $5. Matt Booty has got to go. He only released Forza Horizon 5 and Halo Infinite. What has he been doing at Xbox Studios for a decade? Big Ike, that is the question. We don't know what he's been doing. Evidently, if Halo's been having an issue, it has. If the stuff going on with I don't know, man. We're on the outside looking in. We don't know what's really going on. Only thing we can do is speculate. All I know is that he oversees those studios, and since he's been overseeing those studios, outside of what Hi-Fi Rush and a couple other releases, Psychonauts 2, and ain't been uncooked. But Big Ike, they don't ask those questions because they too focused on somebody else. That's who need to be in the limelight. That's who y'all need to be talking to, or someone at Bethesda. 108 Dragons, you can't trust content creators either. Correct? Facts. Because they was in on it too. Knew the game was terrible. Knew the game looked whacked and all that.
Because they get paid for it or got a sponsorship or got a free copy.
Yeah, but as long as they getting an invitation or an invite, they're going to say whatever they have to say.
I learned that from 2K. Don't trust them niggas.
She goes on to say, I try to keep things positive. I really do. But I am human. I have feelings. Seeing people I looked up to saying things like, they deserve this. Now their resumes are tainted. Wow.
Yeah. Because this is based on a union. So
what fucking idiots?
We can only go off of your last performance.
So these are people in the media and content creators and all these things that they consider peers, friends, or colleagues or whatever, saying they deserve this. Now their resumes are tainted. Laugh out loud. What fucking idiots, calling them idiots, etc., have truthfully been the only things to bother me. She say, personally, I love nothing more than to give full transparency, but at that point, I feel it would be interpreted as excuses. So she say, if she should, she basically saying, look, if I would have gave y'all transparency, but at this point, how y'all the reaction, how y'all disrespecting us and demoralizing us, y'all wouldn't, even if I told you, y'all would think I'm lying or just consider it as me making excuses. So I ain't even finna put it. She goes on to say, anyways, thank you for letting me be momentarily vulnerable. But before I'm whisked away by the PR teams for, for, for talking,
You saying too
you know what I'm
much.
saying? Yeah, you know. So yeah, like I understand. We've seen bad games. We've seen bad launches and things like that. But the response to them launches I ain't never seen no shit like this where they niggas people out here is actually wishing for Xbox to go away, for Arcane to be broke up and for people to be fired, for people livelihoods to be to be affected, for Microsoft to get out of the console space, for Phil to be fired. And that's because in their heart they want this to happen. They want it to happen, but I don't think Xbox or Phil is going anywhere no time soon. Shout out to Iron Mike with the $5. That we previewed it at 60 frames a second on high-end PCs as a scapegoat for the current clout chasing. Yeah.
Interesting.
You know what I'm saying? So now I'm going to go. Let me see here. Let me find that video. Matter of fact, let me pull up the interview.
I say you only as good as your last game. So just imagine if they do have them, step away or laid off in a sense, and then they trying to go pump out their resume to another gaming company, and you see,
because I need full context.
You
here.
see Redfall. You like, nigga, if you don't get your, y'all out here doing YouTube developed video games. Get the fuck out my door.
Hold on.
It kind of sucks though, but
let me find this spot.
It comes with the territory with the game. I know you're trying to get the whole console war mess, but what's crazy, and a lot of people ain't even looking at it. The man doubled down on everything he's already said. I know you finna talk about it now. I'm gonna wait on it, but if you listen to what Phil said and you listen to what he said prior, he literally just doubled down and said the same exact thing outside of taking responsibility for Redfall. That literally what just happened.
Yeah.
Like this interview was left field, but I wasn't hopeful when he was speaking about those games and what we're going to see at the developer, the direct. Oh, he said, yeah, we got something in the tuck. Don't even worry about it. We Gucci. I just hope that he didn't take what they said about the 12 games and Game Pass and did just skip past that and won't be doing that, because I actually enjoyed that. I got to play a lot of good games. And we still getting Stalker too. You said the Lakers losing? Oh, damn. I think I put some on them too. Shit, yeah, No Man's Sky, that Joker came out terrible. At least they didn't do a Cyberpunk when they was bragging about taking people money and then they had to turn around.
Okay, I'm back. So let me pull this. I found the part in the interview that I want, because this is the part that everybody is running with. And me and J Dub was kind of going back and forth in the DM about what he think Phil said and what I think he said. All right, so let me pull this up here. Let me share this tab. Let me do this here. And so the part start right here. So I want to play for the reason why I didn't grab the clips on Twitter is because some clips are being short intentionally to support their agenda of what they think he's saying. So I want to get the whole piece for context, and then we can I'm gonna break down what I get from this. So here we go.
We remain fully committed to that. We're not in the business of out-consoling Sony or out-consoling Nintendo. There isn't really a great solution or win for us. And I know that will upset a ton of people, but it's just the truth of the matter is that when you're third place in the console marketplace and the top two players are as strong as they are and have, in certain cases, very, very discrete focus on doing deals and other things that will that kind of make being Xbox hard for us as a team. That's on us, not on anybody else. Our vision is that everybody who's on console has to feel like they have a great experience and they're a first-class citizen. They've invested a ton in our platform. But we are not in a position, and I see it out there. I see commentary that if you just build great games, everything would turn around. It's just not true that if we go off and build great games, all of a sudden you're going to see console share shift in some dramatic way. We lost the worst generation to lose in the Xbox One generation, where everybody built their digital library of games. You go and you're building on Xbox. We want our Xbox community to feel awesome. But this idea that if we just focused more on great games on our console, that somehow we're going to win the console race, I think doesn't really lay into the reality of most people. Like 90% of the people every year who walk into a retailer to buy a console are already a member of one of the three ecosystems, and their digital library is there. This is the first generation where the big games that they're playing were games that were available last gen. When you think about Fortnite and Roblox and Minecraft, like the continuity from generation to generation is so strong. I see a lot of pundits out there that kind of want to go back to the time where we all had cartridges and discs and every new generation was a clean slate and you could switch the whole console share. That's just not the world that we are in today. There is no world where Starfield's an 11 out of 10 and people start selling their PS5s. That's not going to happen. So what we have to do, and we have this unique vision because we see what creators want to do. Creators want to build games that can meet players on any screen. People.
Okay. That's not what he said. I don't.
What you mean? That's not what he said?
People in talking about. He said we can't beat Sony and
the competing part. Oh, okay. Go ahead. We ready.
That's not what I took from this. You have to look at what he said in the beginning when he said we're not going to out console Sony and Nintendo, and then in the latter half he gives you the reason why. He gives you the reason why, and I'm gonna break this down the best I can. So, in the Xbox One generation, that was the generation where the gaming community as overall was making their transition from physical to digital. It was pretty much the generation where I became full digital. I didn't even buy a physical game in that generation, right? So from what I'm understanding, what Phil is saying, look, we dropped the ball in a generation where the biggest shift from physical media to digital media was happening. After this shift, and you hear it all the time, after this shift, you hear people say they have $3,000 worth of games, $4,000 worth of games. It's less likely that someone is going to sell their preferred system and get rid of $3,000 or $4,000 worth of games just to transition over into another ecosystem and have to repurchase all of that. Absolutely. So he's saying they missed the opportunity in that generation to take advantage of what was happening in that transition. So what happened was the poor messaging, the pricing, the whole Xbox OS debacle and always online things that was going on affected them. Plus Sony getting the Call of Duty marketing put them in a very, very bad position, because now majority, if not, I will say majority of games of people ecosystem is preserved on PlayStation and not Xbox. Now, where I disagree with Phil is you don't have to get somebody to, and I think bro said this on Twitter earlier. I forgot his name, but he know who I'm talking about because I agree with him in the comment section. The point of making great games is not to drive a consumer to drop one preferred console for another. The purpose of great games is to do what y'all did in the 360 era, where it was a bit more cohesiveness in terms of OS, platform, back end, and catalog. All that ran in unity in the 360 era, right? Then you brought in something that differentiated your system from PlayStation and Nintendo. You brought in an advanced GUI, right? A graphical user interface. You brought in the gamer card, achievements, profiles. You brought in all of that, right? And guess what? Even in that era, which was a really, really competitive time for the console war era, we just did it in forums and stuff instead of on Twitter and on podcasts. What happened in that era, that even the PlayStation fanboys that was shitting on the 360 at that time was forced to buy one. They didn't have to sell a PS3 to buy a 360, but what you did in that era made them sharing your ecosystem to say, look, I need a PlayStation and a 360 in the era. It went from the PS3 to PS360 to PS360 Wii. Those was the hashtags back in the forums around that time. Some people had hashtag PS3 Wii. Some people had hashtags PS360. And then people who had all the consoles had the hashtag PS360 Wii. Those was the hashtags back in the day in the forum. So I disagree with Phil when he said, well, if we put out great games, they don't have to drop PlayStation in order to involve themselves in Xbox ecosystem. If you put out great games on a consistent basis, regardless of if they have a PlayStation or not, they will have an Xbox. Because guess what? Xbox is my preferred ecosystem, but I have a PlayStation 5. Why? Because Sony put out great games on a consistent basis, and the games that I do want to play and do want to purchase for them, I have the ability to do so and share in that ecosystem. Even though Xbox is my preferred ecosystem, I have the ability to share in that ecosystem whenever I want. Because the content that they put out, well, whatever content that they put out that appeals to me, I can have access to it. So I disagree. I think Phil should have worded this a whole lot better than what he did, to say, they don't have to drop the PS5 or sell a PS5, right? They're already established in the ecosystem. They already have established game libraries in the ecosystem. But just because they have those established game libraries doesn't mean that they can't have an Xbox or a Nintendo or a PC. You see it all the time. People say, I got a PlayStation 5 and a PC. I do my PlayStation games on the PlayStation 5. I do my PC and my Xbox games on the PC.
Well, I think that's more so for the people that's candid. Like, you're not the person that can't. You're one of the 1%. So what you're saying is true, But when we talking about the masses, in a sense, what he was saying was back in that era, which he said we made an error on, is we didn't shift the tides, and people now preferred it PlayStation. They went with PlayStation. Now that we in the digital library aspect, you're not going to give up your library just to get something new.
You don't have to give up your library.
No, what I'm saying, like in the sense of you're not finna turn around out the blue and be like, you know what, I'm finna go get a PlayStation this year because an Xbox this year because I had PlayStation last year. And I have a whole library of games that I can still play on my PlayStation. I'm just gonna convert over here and pay $500 for an Xbox. No, I'm gonna continue. I'm gonna continue adding on to my digital library that I've grown over.
What he was talking about is prior to the Xbox One era. If I go back to PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3 in that era, and I think the 360 era is where the digital era had begun in terms of the digital, in terms of kind of getting a glimpse into where the industry was heading, right? But prior to that, right, back in the 90s and stuff like that, between Nintendo and Sega, like I had cousins who had all systems, right? But I had friends, including myself, who couldn't afford all systems. So if you go back to that, or even the Xbox One generation and the PlayStation generation, where when you was coming in, like I didn't care about trading in the console in this game for another. I didn't care about game libraries back then. This is me though. I don't know how everybody else, because I know this me. Right. This is me. And there's people out there like me. But I'm saying, but I know there's people that like hoard and keep every cartridge or every game that they ever purchased. I didn't care. I didn't really care about that.
But you have people that do now. So just imagine, because we're not going to. He didn't go to the 360 era. He went to the Xbox One era in general with his conversation. He said Xbox One was the transition for digital games on a mass scale.
But he did speak about the 360. He didn't have to say.
No, I'm saying I'm talking about in that sense, when in that conversation, he literally said out of his mouth Xbox One era. So when I'm going off of that era where it was the biggest transition in gaming, people with a library, like you said, like the guys that had the physical discs and got the shelves full of old games, you're not getting them people off of that console. So just imagine if they converted over to the digital aspect of it. So if they was a PlayStation user at that time, they're going to continue to be a PlayStation user.
Well, no, what I'm saying, to what he was trying to say is that prior to the digital age, a large consensus of gamers didn't have an issue with, if they wanted a certain system, even going into a new generation, they didn't have no trouble with trading in their system and their games or their library of games to get another system and kind of, start all that over again. It's not like that anymore.
Yeah, that's
we used to go to the store trading games. Yeah, we used to go to Funko Land to get certain games for the low. So we had cheap. What I'm saying is that back in the days when we trade in a system for another system, even though we traded our consoles and our whole library in, it was alternatives to when we got that new system and we had to start that library over. We had multiple outlets to come into that ecosystem cheaper, right? We used to buy games from our friends. We used to go to Funko Land and get games at discounted prices. You go to GameStop and things like that, EB Games, and get games at a discount. Or you might get some friends that you're like, you know what? I don't play none of these games no more. You can have them all. You know what I'm saying? Now that things are digital, you're less likely or less inclined to move from one library or to get rid of one library.
That's the biggest hiccup.
You're not fit. And in the Xbox One era, Sony was the winner of the era, and they was the winner in terms of people getting cemented in their ecosystem. I'm talking about $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 gaming libraries in the PlayStation ecosystem.
Well,
Microsoft didn't capitalize on that because of the shit that they went through that era, and now they're at a point, right? Now they're at a point where they're behind not only PlayStation and Nintendo. And what he's saying is that what I feel he's saying is that it's going to take more than just putting out great games to affect the market share. But even then, we're on a whole different landscape. The game space didn't change so much. So
yeah,
go ahead.
but this what I'm saying, because I gave this example before because I used to work in the gaming retail department. I can't say the name, Game Slut.
Yeah.
So when I always talk about the shift in Call of Duty, when PlayStation had that outing with the network, people shift over to the Xbox. When Red Ring of Death happened with the Xbox, people shift over to the PlayStation. In that era and time, it was acceptable. It was able to be done because again, we had digital forms. All I got to do is trade this in, get a store credit, pay whatever difference, and get the Call of Duty over there to continue playing my games.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in the sense of what he's saying now with the Xbox One, where I agree, because that's when all the turmoil happened. They announced this console, like you said, we had we always spying on you. We remove features. We don't have the snap feature no more. Then you got the digital transition where many wasn't transitioning over to digital at the starting point of it. And now all of a sudden, now they are. They saying we missed that window because we was too busy PR and trying to market our way out of the disaster that happened on the announcement of the Xbox One. Now we are into the Series X era. We got to accept we are in third place for a reason. That's the ownership part of it. We are here in third place for a reason. We had this era, this era, this era. It's all on us because we should have made the decisions better. Now we are trying to transition into still providing entertainment to our masses, and we are acknowledging what position that we in. Now, when he was like, what I got from it was this: fuck your console war, which he's always been saying. Out of all of us are winning. Let's be honest. When we talking about home consoles, it's only 3 fucking home consoles that take over everything. They are making billions of dollars, regardless if it's hardware, sales, or accessories. They make billions of dollars revenue-wise out of these 3 companies in a market where there are billions of users. So these companies, regardless if it's 1, 2, or 3, they are making billions of revenue, billions of dollars. There's nobody else that's coming in that's going to come and bring any type of form of entertainment to you guys, and y'all are going to shift over there and join their ecosystem. You sync that with the Google Stadia. Regardless of how you view it, you see it with what they call the Neo Force or the NVIDIA Force with the PC stuff. They give you some type of form of a platform to shift over there, and people either try it out, the 1% try it out and say no, and the 99 just don't even look at it at all. So when he's saying with this whole console war mess, he doubled down on it, in my opinion. It is a done deal. It's a wrap. We are number 3. We not moving to number 1 or number 2. Nintendo have its position. They've been giving Nintendo users the same games for over 20, 30 years. And they love what they get over there to the point they willing to pay $60 to keep it like it is. They don't even care about third party at this point. Long as they first party is rocking, Mario is selling, and kids are being growing up, they're going to make their money. Sony, even though we are in the same area of gaming, they do third party games, they have first party games. You might have a couple little exclusives here, but for the most part, both of these consoles run the same shit. One just maybe have more Japanese games than the other one. Or the other one has more multiplayer than single player games. It's to each his own. But we messed up, and it pushed us into number 3 in the market. Even though we're making money.
Shout out to Top Shotter with the $5. Phil is correct. A good example is the Epic Store versus the Steam Store because they're digital library. Epic gives away games and still can't compete. Right. Exactly. Top Shotter. Shout out to Game Traders with the $5. This is the worst interview ever. One bad game from Xbox this gen equals Xbox Doom. I do agree with that.
Yeah,
don't blame Phil of
to.
Redfall. Blame Bethesda.
Good shit, Game of Thriller. I was actually about to go into that because we just literally ignored all of the great games that they just dropped. That was, even though I don't rock with Metacritic, y'all know how I stand. It's my opinion over everything. But they had a slew of over 5 or 6 games that was 80 and above, and they literally got thrown out of the window just because of Redfall's hiccups. You get what I'm saying? So it's like that bias is always there. And no, I'm not trying to put on my Batman cape. I'm just acknowledging what I'm seeing. They're in 3rd place. The console war is a dead bug. It's a wrap. Nobody is trying to compete on that level. They already said we are trying to focus on mobile and PC, and we're not giving up on the console in that whole process.
God of Thunder, I did not work at the Apple Store. I did not work at the Apple Store. So there you go. Stop hating. Just stop hating. Stop hating, brother. Just stop hating, bro. I worked for Apple for 6 years. I came in the first year. I was promoted in the first 9 months, my nigga. That means I know what the fuck I was doing. And I didn't work at the store. The first 9 months of being on the job, I got a promotion to a higher position. Don't come for me, brother, unless I send for you.
Ooh,
you know what I'm saying? Just because I don't get on these podcasts and talk and get deep technical and stuff like that, and y'all sit on Twitter all day talking about I don't have a IT background. I do. I've been doing IT since the 90s, nigga. Since I don't have to go there. But it was a reason.
Hey man,
it's a reason why I was 6 years, nigga. 6, not 1. Some people, I ain't even finna get in there.
The man
get in there, bro. Niggas be on goofy shit. Niggas be hating.
Yeah. Hold on. We don't need you to get your fellow. We get Phil already upset. We don't need you.
No. Look.
I'm
I disagree with Phil in terms of the comment he made about great games. We're gonna work our way back into because he said some more stuff too, and I do agree with him.
When it comes to but can you agree to this to say in a sense, I know you feel like you're saying, but when it comes to the narrative on social media, we talking social media here. Every game that then came out has been ridiculed and trashed from the Halo on down. Can you agree to that?
Well, no, we're not worried about that. But that's going to happen. Look, that's going to happen.
I'm speaking on the narrative that's going out there.
Mello, that's going to happen regardless. Mm-hmm. We know anything that Microsoft.
No.
Look.
We can't say that, Post.
They even hated on Hi-Fi Rush, brother.
Yeah, they crazy as hell for that. But again,
that's going to happen regardless. I'm just saying it's gonna happen. Whatever Microsoft put out, whether it's good or bad, if it's good, they're gonna say it's trash. If it's trash, they're gonna magnify it being trash. And they're gonna all this doom, gloom, Xbox getting out of the business, they going third party, they moving away from hardware, they're doing all that, even though the CMA report actually included information about Xbox Next System. But according to Twitter, Microsoft is getting out of the hardware business and going third party, even though the CMA report talks about it was redacted, but they talked about Microsoft Next hardware in the console space. That's going to happen regardless. All I'm saying is this on this specific part of the interview. I disagree with him when he said about great games and how it's not going to get a person to stop buying PlayStation 5s and buy an Xbox, because I feel you don't need to stop them or to pull them out of their ecosystem. They can maintain their ecosystem, but you can put out great games on a consistent basis to bring them into your ecosystem as well. It happened in the 360 era. That's all. And that's why I went back to the 360 era, because the 360 era was an era where you wasn't without a 360, regardless of the red ring of death. I knew people in that era that went through 6 or 7 360s, 6 or 7 of them, 8 of them. But the content, the games, the quality of games, and the consistency of great games that the 360 had from first party, second party, and third party kept motherfuckers there, despite them going through 7 360s. You would have thought a motherfucker would have gave up after the third one. But I know people that went through 7, 8, 9, 10 360s and was still getting them. You know why? Because the ecosystem and the great quality of games demanded that you be in there. The JRPGs play better on 360. All of the third-party games play better on the 360. Microsoft was hitting on cylinders in first party and second party. They was on a roll. So I disagree with Phil. Your job is not to make a person want to sell their PlayStation 5. Your job is to take that PlayStation 5 user and bring them into your ecosystem while they're still cemented in their preferred ecosystem. You know what I'm saying? That's why I disagree with him on that. But I do agree that one great game is not going to solve their issues right now. And Starfield is definitely, by itself, is not going to shift enough of the market for them to, even to catch up on none of that. But they're not even trying to catch up in the hardware space.
Yeah,
we know this.
I'm about to say content-wise, that game is finna blow the fuck up.
Their battles is on users and subscriptions.
Yeah.
Their battle is on, that's where they're trying to win at. And that's where they're trying to get to before everybody else right now. You know what I'm saying? So him saying, look, we're not fit to out console Sony or Nintendo. No, they're not about to out console Sony or Nintendo. Because if you look at their roadmap in terms of what they're doing with Xbox, PC, handheld, cloud, and Game Pass, why would Microsoft try to out console Nintendo and Sony when they're literally telling you that your games is accessible from any device that you want to play them on?
See, that's why, and I'm asking you this question. That's why I think the nice little twist in there came in, because he even doubled down on what they said to the ABK and the CMA deal as well, where they saying we third, we the bottom, we the bottom bitches at the moment. We don't have nothing that compete on that level or that scale of these two great giants. He even made sure to mention Nintendo, where Sony tried to remove them out of that situation. So it's kind of like it's like a hidden gem in there saying like allow us to compete. It's going back to that original statement that they came in with. You guys look at this interview, pay attention to it, let it buzz, let it ring out there, and you see what we're saying. Like, we are at the bottom, and us allowing us to get cloud gaming, where again is only 1%. That ain't even a fraction of the gaming world. Allow us to compete with these two juggernaut competitors. I think that was a great interview doing that. That was like a real good touch.
Look. And I say this. We're trying to
sway the audience. We're trying to sway the audience.
Yeah, I know. Look,
go ahead. Try to sway the audience.
Look, I say this. Look, Phil was right. They're not going to out console Sony or Nintendo. Their business model applies to Microsoft is not saying that we're going to sell as many. We're going to try to out console Nintendo and Sony. That's not their business model. Their business model is to say, look, no matter if you're on the Xbox, PC, handheld, Chrome, whatever device you're on, you can access your Xbox content.
Mm-hmm.
That business model is about driving user engagement, subscription numbers, whether opposed to trying to sell 50 million more consoles to Sony and Nintendo. Microsoft learned a long time ago that on the buy to play model that they couldn't compete with Sony or Nintendo. They told y'all that years ago when they switched to the Game Pass model. Don't act like Phil Spencer just said today that he's defeated and this and that and he gave up. No, he didn't give up. He didn't give up. When you can't beat somebody at their own game or on their, what do? You change how you fight. That's what I got. I didn't hear him being defeated or anything like that.
Nah.
I just heard him saying, look, Nintendo and Sony is so synonymous with gaming. We fucked up in the Xbox era where we missed a transition from physical to digital to gain a lot of that audience and build off that transition. Sony beat us to that. Nintendo have them. We have to change the way we compete with both of them. And he did that by reiterating what Paris said about Xbox business model. I don't hear him saying Xbox is dead. I don't hear him saying we're going third party. I hear him saying, look, we tried to compete with Sony and Nintendo on their playing field on this battle play model. They got us. But we're not giving up. We just had to change how the game is being played. And that's user engagement. That's subscription models. That's removing the attraction of hardware sales, period, by saying, look, you no longer need a console to access our games. But you can buy one if that's how you want to play it. But you can play it on a tablet, a mobile, a PC, or anything like that. That means the hardware is just is an access point at this point, and the gamer becomes the center of their business model. The person, you becomes the center of their business model. But that business model can only exist if you're being consistent with great games. So that's why I didn't agree with Phil there. Despite you having a different business model from PlayStation and Nintendo, right? It still all comes down to the content. And if you want to get to high user engagement, which you've been doing, if you want to get to high subscription numbers, if that's where you want to take the lead at, then that all will be driven by a consistent amount of great games. And we've seen that in the past. We've seen Game Pass numbers go up or user engagement numbers go up when a great game drops in Game Pass. It's not all too often that great games drop in Game Pass. And I'm just being honest. And like I said, whether y'all agree with me or don't agree with me, this is my opinion. This is how I interpret it. I do agree with him. One great game is not going to turn around nothing. A consistent amount of great games is going to turn it around. A cadence. You have to be on that cadence for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, for the rest of the generation. In order for you to even thinking about going into the next generation, you know what I'm saying? Fighting. Now, I did say prior to this generation that Microsoft would have did better hardware-wise. They would have did better selling-wise and all that stuff. But here we are having this conversation. That goes to show that I ain't always right. And I don't claim to be right. I'm not even saying I'm right now. I'm just giving y'all my opinion. I'm just giving y'all my opinion. I'm just giving y'all my opinion. We're stuck and we're constantly Let me get these super chats, and we're constantly still gauging the success of these three companies based off old metrics and old models.
Thank you. We're basing the success off of old shit. This is the new model when it comes to users and engagement. And when it comes to that, we in the millions.
Even the Sony CEO, the head of Sony, came out and said that they're moving away from hardware numbers and moving into engagement numbers. User engagement. That's the importance. That's importance right now. We know yesterday's gamer is not today's gamer.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? My children, I say this all the time. My kids don't care what they game on. They don't care if it's a console, a PC, a Mac, a cell phone. My daughter will play Call of Duty on the Series S she got in there. When we get in the car, she will go to her phone and boot up Call of Duty on her phone. Just like my son. My son will play 2K on the Series S in there. Then he will go to the phone and boot up 2K or Fortnite or even Call of Duty on his phone. The gamers we were yesterday, we're not accustomed to playing games like 2K and Call of Duty on the phone. We'd be like, man, ain't nobody fit to play no game like that on no motherfucking phone. That little ass screen. But today's gamers, my kids, they don't care. They don't care about how big the screen is. They don't care about resolution and all that. All they care is about enjoyment. Microsoft knows that.
And
Sony
I got 99% of those. I mean, well, 90%. I ain't gonna say 99. You got 90%. 10% hardcore. They care about the console, and I got 90% that don't give two shits. All we gotta do is have content for them to play.
But I will say this though, we're gonna keep the echo chamber is gonna continue to talk about hardware sales until hardware sales don't matter no more, and then they're gonna switch their agenda on what they consider was successful or not. And the reason why I say that is because if you go look back at Game Pass, right? And what Microsoft, when Microsoft announced Game Pass, the same verbiage that you're hearing now, they said back then. Oh, Game Pass, they're doing a subscription service. Sony won. Microsoft has gave up. They know they can't beat Sony. This is what they said when Game Pass was announced. Sony has won the gaming generation. It is over. This is going to lead to Microsoft going third party. They're going to get out of gaming. And the same thing people said today is what they said 5 or 6 years ago when Game Pass was first announced. And here we are. Microsoft still in gaming. Hasn't really went third party, but do third party games when they need to in terms of Nintendo and stuff like that. Still putting out hardware. When Game Pass was first announced, the same shit that you hear on Twitter is what they were saying. Microsoft is on their way out of gaming. Sony has won. Microsoft is giving up. They showed that they can't compete with Sony on a game-by-game basis. They said these things. And they saying it today after Redfall, one game, like there's never been a bad game released before. Sony has put out bad first-party games. Y'all act like they haven't. Y'all act like they don't never do it. They don't do it that rarely, but they have done it before.
Nigga,
now it is
Forspoken has died, nigga. She died right in front of our eyes, nigga.
No, it is a debate. It is a debate.
30 days.
You can debate whether that first party game was in worse conditions than Redfall, but that's just semantics. I'm just saying, great games are going to come out, bad games are going to come out. That's just a roll of the dice when you're dealing with developer. But I am of with the majority. This game should have never been released. Redfall should have never been released. You know what I'm saying? I will say that. I will say it should have never. It should have never been released.
It should have cooked a little bit more.
It should have been scrapped.
Nah, I ain't gonna agree with that one.
It should have been scrapped. It should have been scrapped. That's just how I feel. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, you got it. You got it.
You know what I'm saying? That's just my opinion. But I'm saying that every time something happens with Microsoft, whether it's a Phil Spencer interview, whether it's something with Metacritic or a game, the first thing people run to is that Microsoft is dead. Phil is fit to be fired. They is getting out of gaming. They fit to sell off Xbox. They fit to sell. All this just wild shit just come out of nowhere.
You know, the sad part about that is they saying all that and then be turning on their Xbox. That's the part that be beyond me.
Exactly.
you say all that, want them to die, fire, Phil, XYZ, but the same person you complain about, you turn on their product.
Shout out to Top Shotter with the $5. Xbox focused on ABK deal. EU is going to approve because they want to punish UK because of Brexit. Brussels have beef with the UK for leaving the EU. Yeah, it's a lot of political grandstanding going on there. Top Shotter. We'll have to get into that another show. I know the only thing I did realize in this interview, though, is that he did say out of 14 jurisdictions,
9 of them
that they have 9 approved.
Yeah,
we only know of 6.
Yeah, I did peep that too.
We only know of 6. What is the other 3 jurisdictions that have approved? The other 3 regulators that have approved that we don't know about yet or haven't been announced yet? That's what I was wondering. That's what I was wondering. But in terms of this whole ordeal, in terms of Phil saying they defeated, y'all said they was defeated long time ago. So what is it? Was they defeated when they announced Game Pass, or is they defeated now? Because when they announced Game Pass, y'all said they was defeated. Y'all said they was giving up.
They ain't gonna grow.
Game Trailers with the $5. Not true, Post. So explain why PS4 was outselling the Xbox 8-1 when Sony had Knack and Killzone, when Xbox One had better launch title. Well, Game Trailers, I said you just proved my point. You just proved my point, Game Trailer, that it's not just about having great games. Sony had marketing at that time. They had the Call of Duty marketing, right? They had the price point. They came in at $399. They came in at $399. Plus the brand loyalty of Sony. If you listen to PlayStation dudes, they don't have no worries about Sony releasing great content. They know at some point, either beginning, the middle, or latter part in the generation, Sony is going to cook.
Yeah, they willing to wait for that.
They going to cook. And some people just buy PlayStation just off the
just
name.
Because they hear everybody else got it.
That's what motherfuckers grew up with. PlayStation 1, what it did for that era was incredible in terms of 3D. It changed the whole industry. You can't take that from Sony. And when you go from PlayStation 1 to PlayStation 2 and all that, I mean, and then the PlayStation 2 was just a juggernaut. Some people are just synonymous with Sony. When they think about gaming, they think Sony.
Yeah, that's brand loyalty. And that's what he was touching on when he was speaking on the first part. Like, once they made their decision and we missed the ball on that pentiment swing, shit, it was a wrap for us in a sense. People are not budging. They are brand loyal. We don't care how many times the Bears lose. We gonna root for the Bears.
Let me tell you something. The Cubs hadn't won a World Series in 100 years. But guess what? Every year they lead all ball clubs in terms of revenue in audience. Stadium packed.
The Dallas Cowboys. Like, come on now.
You feel me?
Let's be honest. It's brand loyalty.
They won, when they finally won the World Series, they set a record. But for the most people at a gathering in the world, they set a record with that. But I'm just saying, it's no different than people going to a Bears game, a Cubs game, a White Sox game. Even though you know the team is bad, and you still show up,
still rock,
because you still loyal. Because deep in your mind, you know, At some point, they're gonna turn around. But with Sony, I think the PlayStation community is not in the mindset of at some point they're gonna turn it around because Sony is rarely in that position. Their mindset is at some point, we know we finna get some fire. We know we gonna get some flame.
And even if we don't, we gonna pretend like we got some fire.
Microsoft,
we gonna pretend like we got some flame.
Microsoft needs to start setting that it needs to become consistent like that on the console side, where the Xbox community gets to a point where they know whatever they whipping up is gonna deliver. That's how when I talk to Kratos and I talk to Porter Rock, their stance is that we know Sony gonna deliver. We ain't got to worry about it. That's their stance.
We just gonna sit and bash you, niggas.
We just gonna bash our system
because we ain't got shit to do.
We gonna bash Xbox because we know we ain't got shit over here.
We
already know Sony gonna cook over here. We know they gonna deliver. So we just gonna cook Xbox because we know we good over here. But
I know I'm gonna get.
And I've had these conversations with them.
Final Fantasy.
Thrill Our League, Post Up and Mellow. The people who are complaining act like being third place isn't profitable for a business. They still making money in that position. Yeah, he came and said in his interview that
three of these companies,
they just had one of their biggest quarters. So I don't see how people gouge the success of an entire division based off one game. Despite Redfall coming out the way it came out, they still just had one of their best quarters. You know what I'm saying? But they've been saying this. They've been saying this since 2001. The media too. I go back to them at that time where the media said Microsoft won't go be in the gaming space in the next 5 or 10 years, when it was before they released the Xbox. They said Microsoft was gonna fail in this space. All I'm saying is that all this Xbox is doom and gloom. Xbox is dead. Phil is defeated.
Shut the fuck up.
Y'all said that shit fast. Y'all say it every year. Every time something happens, like I said, it could be an interview, it could be a game release. It is doom and gloom. Xbox is dead. Xbox, and you know what's gonna happen? And I'm gonna say if Microsoft comes out June 11th, right? Because Phil told you in this interview, we got Forza Motorsport, Starfield, and Hellblade 2 coming. So we might get 3 IPs, and then he said after that, they'll be on a cadence where they're able to drop a game a quarter. We're gonna see if that holds up. So this year we could be getting Forza Motorsport 8, Starfield in September, Hellblade 2 in the fall, right? Then you go into early 2024 with Avowed, and then so on and so on, right? I'm telling you now that if Xbox delivered, I'm gonna say if Xbox deliver June 11th, then all of this shit that's going on right now is gonna be forgotten. I guarantee it.
I can't say
I
that.
Guarantee it. I
guarantee
it. And I'm gonna say this.
You know who we talking about here? We talking about Phil Spencer and Xbox.
Hold on. and I'm a young boy. I ain't in denial because I didn't agree with some of the stuff that Phil Spencer said in here. I'm not in denial.
Yeah, he definitely did. But
I'm just telling y'all need to look. I will say this. Even leading up to June 11th, right? It will be less talk about what we're talking about now and more talk about people's expectations and holding Xbox accountable, which we should. They're going to have to knock it out the park. There is no rooms for error for this showcase. They're going to have to kill it all the way through, right?
But how though, Sway? I'm just saying, bro. They gave
Great.
you
They're gonna have to
They
show.
gave 12
Look,
games.
They
They
gonna have
say,
to.
yo, end surprises, and niggas still hated on that, bro.
They're gonna have to look. People gonna hate. They're gonna hate anyway. I know
The echo chamber on that was crazy, and
look,
they gave you 12 games every day, bro.
Look, I'm not in denial. It's no way that in 2023 that we should have a red fall. That we should have a red fall from a first party game. And I didn't like the fact. Also, I didn't like the fact that he was saying that it was a breakdown in communication in terms of when he was talking about the hands-off approach and leaving the developers to do what they do and handle it. And I think he was pretty much saying that he had enough trust and faith in Arcane for them to go off and kind of manage themselves. You know, he did say they got to Starfield early and he got the tech teams, but I question Arcane. If Arcane knew that the game was in that position, right? Yeah. And you got access to all Microsoft resources, the Xbox Advanced Technical Group, you got access to the Gears of War's development, everybody, right? At some point, shouldn't you have reached out across the aisle for help?
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. But yeah, you know or do you think he was lying? Do you think he was lying saying that they, to save face?
No,
y'all had access to all these tools and y'all didn't use it.
And that's what I didn't like. Basically, what he was saying.
Okay.
Because given Phil, and I want to say this. P. Hines, Ty Howard, or whoever at ZeniMax, because it's not just Bethesda, it's ZeniMax too. Whoever the top, who was, and then the internal testing. I didn't like what Phil said here either when he said that the game rated higher in our internal. Who the fuck you got testing these games?
Yeah, y'all need to definitely do open betas.
Clear them.
I definitely agree to that one. Open betas to the masses. Let us check it out. Especially if it's an announced game.
You have open beta. The Inside Xbox app, right? On your Xbox.
I know for damn sure I ain't get one. I would have been there day one.
When you go into the app, right? This is where you signed up to get all the betas and the alphas. They get all the betas in the alpha of the OS. But also inside this app, you have previews.
You have of dedicated fucking users.
You have previews of games that you can only access through that particular app. Like it's 2 games in there now that you can go in there and sign up for, but you have to go through the app to get to them. Why not put Redfall in there and let your community preview that game in the state that
the real community.
You did preview builds for other games.
You right about that one, Post.
Because these internal testers you got,
they ain't doing their job. And I agree with you on that. Well, the reason why I agree with you because of how the insider program is actually even set up in the interface. It gives the profile and how long you've been inside the insider program. So you have everything to gauge from. Like if you got a person that's been there 10, 15 years or 5 years, you know that their opinion counts in this sense. So that goes into that promotion and advertising and actually engaging with the community. But go ahead, bro. Do your thing.
I'm just saying.
You right. You are right.
Look, I'm just saying, look at Grounded. Look how long Grounded was in preview. And they allowed the community. They allowed the community to help with the building of that game. They got community input. If you knew this game was in that position, why not
reach out to your community? Yeah.
Why not just put it in the preview build? I don't think it was too late for that.
No, I don't think it was, because how the insider program is set up, it's just easily just a preview. Hey, we got this game in there, check it out. You like everybody's was surprised about the UI that I had, the interface. I said I had this for almost 2 months because I was in the insider program, the live interface.
Yeah.
I'm like, I've been had this dashboard. I didn't know that everybody didn't have access to it because I'm in the insider program. So yeah, let the people that you know that's dedicated to your platform. You don't have to worry about social media. They already investing into the program because they're signed up for it. Allow them to review it.
Yeah.
It makes hella sense. Way more sense.
I'm just trying to figure out where, like, let me see here. This is okay. Look at, hold on, let me take.
That's how I found out about Age of Empire. The game they got in there now is they had Flight Simulator in beta, and Valheim. Valheim is the other game that's in there right now. That's in preview program. Even Armor 3. That's how I found out about Armor 3. It's still in beta program too. He said the NES is destroy the heart. Gotcha.
I'm just saying, why not go if you knew that this game, and I agree with him. It's this look, be done with this. And I know he said, and this is just my perspective, because I know it's people out there that disagree with me because they like Redfall. I do not like Redfall. I do not like it. Right?
It's bad. It ain't that bad.
It's bad.
It's bad, but it ain't that bad. Like,
it's bad.
I done played some bad games. It's bad. But it ain't that bad.
What the first thing that I said when I say,
you said this shit blurry and what the fuck is this?
Soon I put it up, I said,
what the fuck
I said, nah, they ain't never do this in 2023. Right?
Yeah, you did.
I said they ain't never do this in 2023. You know what I'm saying? Because prior to me playing the game, I had looked at all the feedback and stuff on Twitter and stuff like that. And I'm like, man, maybe. And then you see the pictures of people saying, oh, the graphics ain't that bad. Look at this part. And then I boot up the game and I'm like, oh, this shit bad. Look at no textures on the gun. The world is empty as hell. And then when you get into certain parts,
empty.
And then when you get to certain parts in the game, like where the
don't make sense.
The helicopter and the plane is at and stuff like that, and all the fire. I see why people taking pictures right here, because this part of the game look decent. I see why people was taking pictures at this point in the game, because this part looks decent, but it's not representative of the whole game. The whole game is bad. Now, this is what I'm talking about. This is a picture taken from my Xbox, right? This is the Xbox Insider Hub. And right now, they're testing. I can get in the Flight Simulator. They still testing out Flight Simulator beta. That's still accessible. And then they're doing a public test for Valheim. And then this game Squad Blast. I don't even know what this Squad Blast is.
Yeah,
but a lot of games.
That's the first time seeing that one.
Yeah, but it's a lot of games that pop up in this section that you don't even know about, where they do public tests or public beta. And you have to go through this app to access them, because you go through this app, you got to tell them that you want to join. After you tell them to want to join, then they take you to a closed off app store that you can only access. Storefront that you can only access after joining, and then they'll let you download the game, because you can't download it. You can't go to the regular store on the Xbox and type in Squad Blast and download it. It sits on a different store, separate from the main store, but it resembles the main store. Why wasn't Redfall in here?
Yeah, I agree with you on that one.
Why wasn't Redfall in here? Why wasn't he in here as a or even a preview program to allow the public to get access to it and say, hey, this need to be fixed, and then just build it out over time?
Yeah.
Grounded did it. So many other games did it. And when Grounded came out of the preview, it was
Man,
it was a totally different game.
that game fire.
It was a totally different game from the preview version. MK say, I just don't like the fact that they can Sea of Thieves a game and then make it better later on after. Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
And then another thing
That's
is
the direction the gaming going though too though.
Another thing is that I'm upset about this too, Mello, is that everything that's going on now is what Sony and other people express, particularly Sony, express to the CMA and the regulators. That subscription service devalue and lower the quality and standards of games. And while you in the midst of trying to appeal to the CMA,
some shit like this, I think that's probably what you got more pissed off at. Yeah, that probably was like
proving Sony right by releasing Redfall in the description service at the quality that it released at.
I agree with that one. Yeah.
Now,
was the ball dropped? Absolutely. I cannot say it wasn't.
Now, if Sony if Microsoft appeal, which
they are,
I heard through the grapevine that they are.
No, right? he said it himself that we are.
They're going to appeal. They're going to fight for it, right? Right. And third party gets to partake in that. I guarantee you, Sony bring up Redfall as a game that devalues and lower the quality because it's in a subscription. Why not? They used it before.
I definitely use it.
They used it before. And what the CMA gonna do? The CMA gonna go do their research. They're gonna go look at the game. They're gonna look at the headlines. Look at the headlines. Look at the Metacritic and they've been siding with Sony so much. They got a point.
You say, well, damn, what is this shit you got here?
What they got a point.
The developers got mad. Like, what?
Hey, league. I ain't giving them ideas. I'm just keeping it real. I will be pissed.
Yeah, bro. Any narrative that comes with Xbox is coming out. So this is definitely going to be mentioned if they have the opportunity. Yeah, it's definitely happening. Phil
was mad. I think he's really been going through it in terms of this whole acquisition thing. From my perspective, what I know, it's been some sleepless nights in regard to this whole regulatory thing. I'm talking about up all night, 2-3 a.m., all types of shit. It's been some sleepless nights.
$70 billion.
You know what I'm saying? Because $70 billion is on the line. $1. And you mean to tell me I'm trying to come to an XCast and have an interview about, and Paris brought up some things. I forgot what he said about ID at Xbox,
the direct,
the whole what's the name program that they got going on with developing young talent. You got June. You just announced your showcase for June 11th, and you want to be positive about the AB, and you can't really focus on none of that because you have to talk about this. Mm-hmm. On top of that, some of your peers, your friends, your colleague in the media, because of Redfall, is being the most disrespectful they have ever been. Like, no chill at all. And you're reading this from people you know that's telling you that you should be fired. They're telling you that Xbox should no longer exist. They're calling your developers idiots, and they deserve it. And they want all this. You got to hear that from people you know. I would have had that tone too. I would have had that. Oh, this what we on? I would have been mad too. And he was, and in that part of the interview where he said, I hear what's being said on social media. So he's been sitting back watching and reading all this shit. I would have been mad too.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, these motherfuckers get pretty loud. I might add.
Look, let me tell you something. I am not delusional.
These ponies are loud.
I am not delusional. I am not crazy because my perspective of this is different from everybody else's. All right.
What?
I'm just saying. You know, they out there saying in that Mellow and Post Up is crazy, delusional.
Man,
They in
I
the
don't give a
you know what I'm
fuck
saying?
about these.
Let me tell you something. I just see shit different.
Bro, the moment I start worried about a nigga opinion about video games, bro, I want to leave this earth, nigga. Do you hear me?
What
Don't
Dorothy?
talk about these clown ass.
Dorothy has to listen, and someone you have to listen to. Social media allows you to get the temperature of things. Like when Hi-Fi Rush came out, they saw throughout social media the positive reaction that it was getting. You can't only look at the positive and then block out the negative. Although you want to be able to receive constructive criticism, that's cool. But when you go as far as to what people been saying on social media over this Redfall shit, it's downright distasteful and disrespectful because it went beyond just constructive criticism. The shit that they've been saying is crazy. All I'm saying is that this game would have been better off being in the preview program.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that part.
Or the inside Xbox. Hide that shit in y'all don't even visit. I visit the inside Xbox Hub because I'm trying to get my points up to get to Alpha Ring.
Absolutely.
I want to get to Alpha Ring. I want to get, you know what I'm saying? They get shit ahead. I want to get to either Alpha Ring or skip ahead Alpha. They get shit first. You know what I'm saying? They get all the shit first. So I'm in better. I want to get to, so I'm doing all the activities and things like that to get the points to try to get there. But if the rumors was true, what Jeff Grubb said that Microsoft didn't believe in this game or anything like, well, hide it in the inside Xbox Hub. Like you got, how many people knew Valheim in this Squad Blast game was doing the public test in the early beta?
Yeah. I knew about Valheim because it was a PC game. It was blowing up, and when it came on Xbox, I was like, all right, let me check that out. So I have checked that out.
They even had Minecraft in here at one point. They even had Minecraft in here at one point.
Yep.
They had a few other games that y'all ain't never heard of too.
They had Crossfire X in there.
Crossfire X. It's a lot of
Armor 3.
Armor 3
was in here.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot of it's a few of them that I didn't know what they was. I'm like, what the hell is this game? But a lot of games pop up in here. Hide it in here.
You gonna say hide it in here? It ain't hide it. Just instead of you having a public beta that can ridicule the game, you can put it in a closed beta and have your diehard, the people that's really investing in the game, give their opinion about it to help improve it. Cause
Mac City was good, brother. You can't tell long-time hardcore bots to go play on PC because they criticize the game. Look, man. Look. I respect everybody's opinion on this whole situation, right? I'm not here. Me and Mello is not here to change anyone's outlook on how they feel. We just here to give y'all our opinion on how we saw this. Whether you consider it defending, whether you consider it capping, whether you consider it delusional, or whatever. We're just here to give our opinion. If you are mad, if you are upset, you have every right to be.
Post before you say that. I'm gonna tell you now. I don't give two flying fuck. I'm still gonna sleep good at night.
Too. Yeah, me too.
I'm gonna, bro. They bash the fuck out of this game. I'm playing it right now as we speak. I don't care about y'all opinion. I'm just voicing mine. That's it. That's all. I only put 7 hours in right now. And I'm enjoying myself. Even though it's buggy as fuck.
So man, like we respect y'all opinion. I'm not mad at anybody that feels some type of way. I'm not mad at anybody that might interpret this differently from us. That's what having your own perspective is about. I'm just saying how I look. I didn't see somebody that said we're giving up on gaming, we're defeated or anything like that. All I heard was somebody that say, look, we recognize that in terms of outselling Nintendo or in Sony in the console space, coming from an era where we dropped the ball on where large users of our community was transitioning from physical to digital. We had to find another route. Finding another quitting and saying we give up, we're getting out of the game console business. That's being defeated. Saying that, look, even though the landscape has changed, there is another way. There is another way. That's not being defeated. You know what I'm saying? That's being resourceful. That's saying, look, we here. We here. And that it's multiple ways to be successful in this industry. You know what I'm saying? That's all I hear. And like I said, back when Game Pass was announced, back when the PC initiative was would play anywhere and all that shit came up about Xbox being dead, getting out of the console business. They finna go PC. They finna go. Oh, you hear that shit every year. Every time something happens, you hear that. I'm just telling you, as an Xbox, look, don't mind that shit. We're gonna see how all of this play out. We're gonna see how all of this play out. And I do think that on June 11th, Microsoft is gonna have to show their ass.
I already believe they are, because
they're gonna have to show their ass.
When he was speaking on that, he was highly confident on that one. So I already ain't even worried about it.
Young boy, get with the $10. Did Phil say what Game Pass subscriptions numbers are? We haven't got any Game Pass subscriptions numbers, and until since the 25 million that they publicly announced, and then the 29 million number came from Sony doing this whole regulatory process, and we don't even know if that's true or not, because a lot of the numbers in those documents were redacted. If not, that's strange considering that's his measurement of success. 15 million on PC and 10 on Xbox. He did say he hears what's being said must be true. Young boy Gip, that is another, that is some more misinformation. People need to read. That LinkedIn didn't say it was 15 million Game Pass subscribers on PC. People need to read and stop. Let me see if I can bring that up.
Well, I say you're supposed to go off the court documents, at least with the court documents.
Let me see if I can bring that up, because it's more than 10 million Game Pass users on console.
Oh, yeah.
Let me see if I can bring that up.
Oh, you speaking twice, Post. Okay.
Huh?
Okay, never mind. You fixed it. Whatever happened, he was speaking twice. Go ahead.
Let me see here. Let me see here. I'll see if I can find that on Twitter. Man. And somebody find that I gotta find that. Because I seen it, and when I read it, I'm like, nah. Let me see. Okay, here you go. I found it. That was quick. All I had to do was put Game Pass LinkedIn. And that shit came right up.
More Stalker 2, Forza. Oh, yeah, them definitely dropping.
So,
announcement wise, yeah.
We're going to bring this up. Built their team to launch new features in Xbox Game Pass and execute marketing campaigns that increase subscribers from 5 million to 25 million plus. 25 million plus. So that means it's over 25 million. So this is the line that everybody is talking about right here. Partner with creative directors at Bethesda and Xbox Game Studios to pilot new growth ideas, making it easier for over 15 million PC players to enjoy Game Pass. You see?
You see what he just said, though?
You see what he said?
He said, I understand it could be misinformed information, but those were the headlines, though. Everybody was running with those goddamn headlines.
Said, making it easier for over 15 million PC players to enjoy Xbox Game Pass.
I said that echo chamber, when you hear 20 people saying the same narrative, that's what people gonna believe. I said
if I'm saying there's 15, why not say making? why not say 15 million Game Pass PC players? I just think that in Microsoft PC ecosystem right now, people that's in their ecosystem in terms of the Xbox, I just think it's like 15 million players that have access to enjoy Xbox Game Pass. That's not necessarily meaning that 15 million players on PC is enjoying Xbox Game Pass. That's how I look at it. And guess what? Making it easier for over 15 million PC players to enjoy Xbox Game Pass. Xbox Game Pass and PC Game Pass is two different things. So if we're talking about 15 million players on PC Game Pass, then why choose Xbox Game Pass? Why? Because on Twitter, Xbox Game Pass and PC Game Pass are two separate accounts. And what Xbox Game Pass announced for Xbox is for Xbox, and what PC Game Pass account announces for PC Game Pass is for PC. He's saying making it easier for 15 million PC players to enjoy Xbox Game Pass. As long as every game has 60 frames per second pro mode, I'm Mac. You ain't got no chill on that 60 frames per second.
He own it. Hey, man,
wait, hold on. I do want to say this. Shout out to the 102 people watching. It is 11:13 p.m. at night Central Standard Time in Chicago. You know what I'm saying? And y'all is here up with us.
And we appreciate it.
We got 57 likes, man. Please, can we get them likes up? Now we at 105. Can we get them likes up? Let's get them likes up. It helps with the algorithm. That's all we ask. Let me tell you something. It's a beautiful time in the city right now. It is definitely sundress season.
Boy, that 70 hit, boy.
Look, let me tell y'all, it is definitely sundress season. The fellas, y'all know what I'm talking about. Sundress season has arrived.
And they getting extra, man. I can't even say what I want to say. Boy, I heard a story.
I might have to.
Man, they ain't even wearing the undergarments, bro. Like, god damn, bro.
I might have been a little bit too loud. My lady walking around.
Let me that don't sound like what Phil Spencer was talking about.
But yeah, I don't think. Look, because you have to think how. And the reason why I say that, hold on, and this is going to make a whole lot of sense, young boy. The reason why I say those numbers don't add up is before Game Pass went to PC, Xbox Game Pass was already at 15 million on consoles by itself.
Mm-hmm. I remember having that argument with what was that? Big Money. Talking about it wasn't gonna be touching 20 something. So yeah.
They was at 10 to 15 million on consoles by itself before the PC Game Pass was even announced. So that's why I say that them numbers don't add up. Post for to be sleeping on Mellow Suicide King, you feel me? 558 Packer Pal. Thank you, Packer Pal. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's what I got from this whole ordeal, man. Look, I just saw somebody that was frustrated with the press that's been going on around this game and around Xbox, and he has every right to be frustrated given the type of verbiage people have been using since all this took off. And then he might be stressed with all this regulatory shit going on. The CMA make enough shit to block the case because they're trying to show that they can, since they left the EU, that they could, you know what I'm saying? And then I heard some other information about that.
I'm about to ask you too, Post. I'm about to ask you myself on something I heard, unfortunately, off of social media. What did they say? Google played a part in this?
Yeah, Google been there since the beginning. Google been complaining. People act like Google just showed up. Google been there since the beginning complaining. What Google did was Google blamed Call of Duty for Stadia. Well, they actually blame Microsoft.
For Stadia failure?
Yeah, they blame Call of Duty and for
what did I,
Stadia
bro?
not
I'm
succeeding and
nice.
all that shit.
Y'all gonna listen
Yeah,
to me one day, cause I remember
yeah,
I said Google and
yeah.
Apple,
Because
but I'm gonna shut up.
in Apple might have been in there anonymously
Playing
as well,
cahoots.
because Google has to protect their app store. Apple has to protect their app store as well.
Mm-hmm.
Neither Google nor Apple want Microsoft to obtain Activision, because it will put them in a position where they can encroach on their stores.
Man, I said
And
that
for
shit.
some reason, the CMA is protecting that too as well. To sit up here and tell them that Google and Apple is already behemoth in that market, and there's no need for you to even try, since they pretty much is a monopoly. Just find some other way. That shit is crazy.
Man,
That shit is crazy. But I got some information I can't talk about that I'm not going to talk about on why Microsoft kind of reacted the way they reacted when they heard the news. It's some. I'll just leave it at that. Hopefully at some point I'll be able to talk about it. Shout out to MK with the $2. Can you imagine the meeting Phil had with now, I don't imagine the meeting Phil had with Arcane. I imagine the meeting Phil had with Matt Booty and ZeniMax. That's where that's at. Because when Paris started to talk about all the games that we haven't heard anything from, Contraband, Perfect Dark,
Fable.
Avowed, Fable, and all that shit, that's Matt Booty's problem. And you could tell Phil is frustrated, like he's got to where he's tired of waiting. So he might have been frustrated in the interview. Somebody probably got scolded. Some top heads probably got scolded. Had that talk.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah.
So, is it a
Somebody
possibility
got
we
that
might
talk.
be seeing a Matt Booty fire in this Joker?
Nah, somebody got that talk.
He said, "No." Nah.
Look, I don't know. Somebody got that talk though.
I'm just saying.
Somebody got that talk.
The man, he just had an interview talking and having a conversation about someone else's mishaps. I'm just saying.
Yeah. But
like, I'm gonna take it on the chin, but this is your fuck up, brother, not mine.
I just think and that's why I say look, you can't have great games if internally you don't have a system or a process in place or an environment to cater to the process or the making of great games. And what I heard today was they don't really have an integration process regarding it, even with Bethesda. Bethesda just off on their own, being their own. You know what I'm saying? What team do you have in place when Phil is not available to go? He's out doing his regular. What team do you have in place that goes around and check on these games? I'm talking about from Xbox Game Studios and Bethesda. What team and then reports back to you or send you a report or the state of that game? I know Phil sometimes do this on his own, but you don't have a team that should be monitoring these just to make sure everything is going smooth. Like I tell you this, I can't believe how Redfall got out the door. But you know, Ray, what's up? What's good, Ray? I just don't know, but some reorganization in terms of quality control, in terms of having someone in on these games at the early parts of these games to see the game through from a creative perspective, to make sure the quality is maintained throughout. All of that needs to be in place. And I think that's already in place at Sony. Sony got a system that's been working for them for the last 20 or 30 years, and that shit runs like an oil machine.
Yeah.
Regardless of how you feel about their hardware, regardless of how you feel about their games or how many, whatever, they have a process that runs like an oil machine. that allows them to put out first party content with high quality production.
And Post, I can't agree with that. Now they slipped up just like everybody else do. Now you
I
putting
know
a little bit. You
look,
putting a little bit too much sauce on that
hey,
high quality.
Hey, Mello,
Nah,
look, Mello. I'm still a bot, but I'm gonna keep it real, though.
No, that ain't real. Talk some high
That is real.
quality.
I'm gonna keep
We
it real,
seen
though.
God of War, nigga. We seen what happened. They had bugs and glitches just like everybody else.
But not it wasn't a Redfall.
It's a bug and a glitch is a bug and a glitch.
It wasn't a
I don't care
Redfall.
what you call it.
And I know Horizon Forbidden West had its issues, but that shit still looked
that game.
But that shit still looked fucking good though.
And they
cleaned
don't
that
forget
shit
about
up.
Forspoken.
They cleaned that shit
for
up.
closure.
Forspoken the second party. I would call Square in the second party.
Oh, that is.
I mean, it's still the second like third party. I'm not sounding like a pony. I'm just being honest. It's not first party yet. All I'm saying is that. It needs to be some changes internally in terms of product evaluation.
I agree with that.
And quality control. And whoever you have testing these games saying Redfall was good and graded and said that it got rated double digits higher.
They need to get their ass beat.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hey, you gotta
take them
go
out the back end. Yeah, you go ahead and
go.
get them.
You suck me off.
Yeah, you give them the pink slip ASAP. Them niggas.
But even still, Phil has eyes. If he saw the game like that,
that's probably what he did. He saw that game and got up out of there 20 minutes after, 30 minutes after booting it up. He's all hell no.
The Last of Us was a PC disaster. But it was still
Sony done had issues. Like that's what I'm talking about when you said this whole quality word. Like, hold on, they had fuck ups. They just don't highlight them like Xbox. That's all.
Look. I'm saying. Look, I always say this from a media perspective. Xbox is always going to be demonized 10 times more than Sony, right? And like I said earlier in this conversation, Sony, they will never come down on Sony like this. They will never.
Yeah.
They will never come down. Even if Sony would have put out from a first party perspective, they would have put out a game like Redfall. Even though I know the PlayStation fans are gonna say that's why they Sony. They ain't gonna put out a game like that. They always put out quality. I'm saying on a hypothetical, if they would have put out a game like Redfall, the media wouldn't have came down on them like they did Xbox, and they wouldn't say some of the vile things they have been saying.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? Because even in the PS4 era, they said PlayStation lineup is scarce, but that's a good thing. You know what I'm saying? Look, I'm just saying.
You wouldn't have heard from Jim Ryan like always. None of them would have came out and said nothing.
And I think it's the fear of being blacklisted. I think it's just the fear of being blacklisted.
You'd have did the same thing they did with foreclosure. Y'all would have heard a social media post saying, hey, they closed the door and told them to go work on another company, and that's it.
Hey, Sam, you're right. They did in the PS3 era, but they ain't say some of the things in the PS3 era that they saying today about Phil and Xbox and his employees. I'm like, I see some vile shit. Like, really? And then it's not only coming from PlayStation, it's coming from people in the Xbox community as well. And like I said, for them to be upset or mad because their expectations of Redfall was so high, all of our expectations for Redfall was high. So I understand why they frustrated and mad, and I don't take that away from them. They have every right to be. But there's some vile things that's being said out there. You know what I'm saying? To wish unemployment on people and all types of shit, man. It's crazy. Yeah, now lads, some people attacking Arcane devs.
Well, I say that's why you say death for the goddamn fanboy. Man, I agree with that fully. Y'all like killing gaming.
Yeah, Packer Pal. I read that tweet earlier. I read her tweet earlier, and some things that, and since we don't know the process of game development, we always on the outside looking in. We don't know how this shit work. We don't know if it was the developer's fault or if it was management issues. You know what I'm saying? We don't know. You know what I'm saying? But the optics is the optics, because whatever we don't know in the echo chamber that is Twitter, we tend to create. If we don't know the truth, we'll create our truth. If we don't know the narrative, we're gonna create our own narrative. You know what I'm saying? And whatever that fits our agenda. You know what I'm saying? Whatever that fits our agenda.
And
You could
niggas
say,
like J Dub gonna get his Storm the Pony Troopers to get behind him at 3 a.m.
yeah,
and echo that same scenario. Y'all see them dead on Twitter Spaces and how nasty they get. It be the same mess getting echoed around the corner. Yes, man.
Yeah. So I don't think it's doom and gloom. I don't think it's doom and gloom. We'll have to see. I'm not saying wait and see. We just have to see what the June 11 looks like, what we get for the rest of the year. We got to see how Starfield is shaping up, because the this whole Redfall debacle got people questioning the state that Starfield is in. But Phil did say in the interview they got to, and it's crazy. They said they got to Starfield early in this development.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting, because that means Microsoft was helping with Starfield before they purchased ZeniMax Bethesda. If what Phil said is true, that they got to Starfield, the advanced tech group, that the Xbox Advanced Tech Group and Microsoft resources got to Starfield early in this development to help Bethesda with it, that means that Microsoft has been helping with Starfield since the beginning, right? And that kind of knocks out this narrative that Microsoft had nothing to do with Starfield. I'm just saying. I didn't say it. Phil said it. So they was helping them way before they bought them. And that goes into, if you go back and look at the interview with Phil, Todd Howard, and Pete Hines, Todd Howard speaks on how Microsoft was helping them rebuild their graphics pipeline for the new engine, the Creative Engine 2, if I'm not mistaken. So would you call that organic growth, Mello?
Yes and no. Yes and no. Yes and no. Yes, I would, because if I partake in your brand before it even has the name written on a chalkboard, yeah, but that depends on how much you talking about involvement. Like if I just gave you some tools and gave you some people and said, hey, there's some things that you can do with the cloud here, have fun. Yeah. But if I'm in there directing the game, the narrative, okay, you need to do this to make, the game move smooth on this, then that it depends on how much of a hand they put into it.
Now I was trying to be on my, but you didn't miss. You didn't got serious on me. I would say this though. There is this narrative out there that
I think Xbox gonna be fired.
That they saying that Phil Spencer saying the key to success isn't providing great games. I don't think that's what he meant. I think he was saying the key to success is not just only providing great games, because it's a lot that goes into that. Great games should be the priority, but you just can't have great game and poor marketing, right? Mm-hmm. You can't have great games and poor messaging. Yep. You can't have great games and a poor back end to try to deliver. It's so much. So it's going to take more than just great games to sway audiences back over to Xbox. It's going to take a consistent amount of great games. It's going to take you know, the
Jesus
OS, the
himself,
platform, the back
Pastor
end.
Joe, Pastor Joe gonna have to pray over these niggas multiple times, bro. For them to get this negative light off of them, man.
Yeah, Black Ass Phil saying even if Starfield is an 11 out of 10, it wouldn't make people sell their PS5. They took that like him saying, "What's the point of making 11 out of 10?" Yeah, it's a lot of stuff out there. People out there just say that he said, "Look, making great games is not going to get us." Well, it's going to take more than making great games. What Sony do, they don't just put out great games. You know what I'm saying? They do great marketing, billboards, they playoff commercials, and buses and trains, and it's a lot of stuff that goes into. It's just like if you're into music, having a great song, having a great is it just not good just to have a great song. Now you got that great song. What you gonna do with it? Yeah. How you gonna get it to the masses? How you gonna get people in there? And the same with a great game. How you gonna get it to the masses? How you gonna let the masses know you have a great song? How you gonna let the masses know you have a great game? How you gonna go about putting that information out there? I guess it's all types of stuff, man. So I do agree with him to some extent, but I disagree with the part in terms of him saying about the PS5 and what he said about great games won't make people sell a PS5. And I just think the point is not to get them to sell a PS5, but to get them to partake in your ecosystem while still having a PS5. So if they can get that done like they did in the 360 era, and grow their user engagement and get their subscription numbers up.
Keep going back to the back then, bro. This is now. And we just said that the 90% don't care about consoles. You said that.
No, you said that. I didn't say the 90% don't care about no console.
Oh my God. You just gave us a whole situation of your daughter playing Call of Duty on her cell phone.
That was my daughter. I wasn't talking about no damn 90%.
She's the 90%, brother.
What 90% is you talking about, man?
I'm talking about when it comes to 90, talking about gaming. We are the 10%. We are the 1%.
You saying it's 10% hardcore, 90% casual.
At 90% casual.
Right. Okay.
The 90% casual who's going to bring in the most profit, I might add, don't care about consoles. We said this.
I wouldn't say that.
Oh my God.
I wouldn't say that. I would see.
Let me sleep, y'all.
No, hold on, Mello. Hold on, Mello. When I was talking about that, I was making an example of my children, but you know, you probably do have them casuals out there that love their consoles,
bro.
You know what I'm saying?
Don't know, guy, bro. We know. Come on, Post. We not.
I'm just saying. I can't say the 90%.
Not at 11:35. We not finna do this, Post. We just.
What time is 11:35? Look, man, we finna get ready to get on up out of here. We all supposed to have 3 hours. I ain't finna do this with Mello. I'm finna do this with Mello. That boy tried to put. You said the 90%. Don't try to put them words in my.
You said it. We both said it. We all know this.
We are the world.
I didn't think this was something surprising. Like
no,
I know that they don't care about no console.
I was speaking in regards to my children. I can't.
My kids too. Because guess what? They play.
Well, you say that about your children.
Roblox,
90%.
They play Minecraft on the tablet.
You can't say 90% of casual. That's a large number. Don't care about.
That is a heavy, large number. But guess what? They don't care about no goddamn console. They play, nigga. Ain't no way in hell. How you think Fortnite blew the fuck up?
Hey, Shadow, that's not me. That's Mello.
No,
that's I just said my children. In regards to my children, my loved ones that I know. You feel me? That I raised. You feel me? They don't care about where they play their games. It don't matter if it's on console, phone, tablet. You know what I'm saying? Now, I do apply that to. Hold on. I do apply that to a large portion of the casual audience with today's gamers. I'm talking about today,
Oh
but I'm talking about today's gamers, because in that 90%, you still have yesterday's casual
Look at
gamers in there
what
too.
Victor just said. Can you put that on there? Shout out to the $2.
Hold on. Shout out to Victor. We said 3.5 billion gamers outnumbers 300 million console gamers. Thank you, Victor. Thank you, Victor. And that's why that when he said, that's why when Phil said, hold on, but look, you can't say 3.5 billion gamers, that all 3.5 billion gamers don't care about consoles, because you have a mixture of people in there that do.
Look,
you know what I'm saying? But you
percentage. He said outnumbers 300 console gamers. He said 3.5 billion gamers. Gaming as a whole, we talking mobile everything, outnumbers 300 million console gamers.
You know, hey, Victor,
thank you, Victor. You need some water post because you bugging.
Victor, why you put that shit on? Why you had the super
He's
chat
making
there,
my
Victor?
point.
How, Victor? I must be getting sleepy or tired. You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
You know what, Victor? You a motherfucker, Victor. Where Victor go? Victor, peek your ass up in the chat. Put your ass in the chat, Victor. Don't hide in the chat now. Victor, don't hide in the chat. Why you get this nigga out that W like that? You know.
Oh my
see
God.
what had happened was. Yeah, Packer Pal, it's about time for me to ride out to the Honeycomb Hideout, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm for the we'll be at y'all again Saturday.
We'll get Noah perspective
and get Noah perspective. I'm gonna try to get We Bleed Green on this week. I gotta holler at Dirk. I might holler at him in the morning and get them on, and we do a whole show about this Saturday and get We Bleed Green and State of Gaming collaboration. And then, you know, 108 Dragon TV, him and his squad, get them on. Reach out to Everborn and K Asante, get them on. Get Web Dave on. I got a lot of people that, reach out to Level 1 Gaming. I got to get my brother Level 1 Gaming on. All these platforms that's been supporting me and allowing me to come on their stage. Got to get them to the stage over here. Yeah, now, lads, I'm going to work on that. We were supposed to set up something last week, but I had some family issues, so we definitely gonna try to Tim Dog don't do podcasts no more. I'll try to reach out to him. I'm in the DMs with him, but I don't think he really do podcasts anymore. But casual follows where the hardcore goes. ODG, you feel me? ODG, I felt you. ODG was trying to save. You know what I'm saying?
Stop it.
You know what, Victor? You know what, Victor? You know what I'm saying? Nobody asked you to come in here and try to show, you know what I'm saying, put me out there like that. You know what I'm saying?
Trying to tell these
you could have just let a nigga, you know what I'm saying? You ain't have to do me like that. It's cool though.
Talking about,
you know what I'm saying? It's cool, but yeah, I'm gonna try to do a collabo with Dirk this weekend. I'm gonna reach out to him in the morning and get see if we can set up We Bleed Green. Then if we can, I think it'll be a great discussion to have between the two platforms and see what they feeling.
Hey, you said fact. Yeah, Dirk do be sniping the hell out of. Hey, I'm just gonna say this, man. Y'all better keep y'all pony tucked. Cause we ain't got no moderators to be sniping niggas.
Yeah, no, we got snipers. We'll have snipers in the chat that day. But yeah, man, I just want to we just want to thank y'all. Like I said earlier, whether you agree with us or don't agree with us, it's cool. That's what having an opinion is about. The conversation, that's all that it is about, the conversation. Thank y'all. It's about to be midnight here.
Hey, make sure
y'all
hit that like button while you're on your way out.
Hit the like button on your way out. We got 100 people watching. We only got 68 likes. Please hit the like button. My lady already been complaining about me. They can hear you outside. I didn't even know I was.
Oh, dang. You going like that, Pose?
I don't even know I was that loud. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? So thank y'all, man. We finna get up on out of here. And let me see here. Y'all have a good night. Be safe, man. To the people at work, man. Get to that money, man. Get to that bag. And let me see here. And we for the sign off.
Yes, sir.
You about to sign off. All right. Post up. Some of those gamers may not have access to get inventory or can afford to get a system.
Yeah, I'm gonna double down on this tomorrow.
Post up. Some of those gamers may not have access to get inventory. I see what you're saying. So Thriller, you're doubling down on what Mello was saying.
Yeah,
basically, y'all little motherfucker. Y'all got me. I'll take that L. I will take that L. Y'all know what? Y'all got me. But we out of here. Peace.
Peace.
I did the thing with most of my niggas. Before the money, I was close with most of my niggas. Stuck with a struggle like success ditched me. No helping hand, I guess it must have missed me. Pops won now, but I didn't miss him. Never heard the story, learned to forgive him. See where I'm from? You gotta move on. That soft shit'll get you off quick, be a crouton. The streets will turn you to a mutant. So I chose the better present for my future. Little money coming in like a new law. Went from a couch to a futon. They hate me like I made it big. Man, I do this shit for my kids. Still they plotting on my downfall. I see them do the same shit to big. More money, more problems. Truest words to ever quote. Less money, even more problems. I felt the same way when I was broke. Smell like the Mona Lisa, sculpted with the hands of Jesus. Told me she missed me. Only came to swipe the visa. Man's tried to warn me, but she gave me every reason. So I turned the other cheek and kept it breezy. Ran into an old buddy, getting info on a stain. Funny, he talking about the same bitch I'm fucking main. This combo will forever change a nigga. Come to find out she was plotting with the same nigga.
Feel like there's some time to see. Yeah, exactly what it's supposed to be.